voices, tackling the issues that affect us all. So let's get started with The Source.
Switchblade, first and last of what God made, and that's the truth. But man, keep on trying to hold me back. Why another chicken head? Come on, lose too strong. Try to do me wrong, and the last one standing will order and command you to dance. Oh, dance.
Well, tell your preacher and your teacher, I'ma give you what you love.
Well, good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. Listen, it is Christmas Eve, y'all. Christmas Eve. And it is the last day that I am on the air for 2020. And Mother is looking forward to resting her voice. It's been such a year. So enjoyed all of you. I wrote a little soliloquy for the end of the show, so hopefully you'll let me get it in. Hey, my sister, somebody, since Master Relenfest. Oh, Nicole, somebody from Master Relenfest Association. I'm telling you, people know more, but I get around. So it's been an amazing year working with all of you, talking to the guests, getting intel. People are calling and giving me intel. I follow up with the intel. We get people on the air. We've helped people to, get out of sanctuary. We've just done all sorts of crazy things in a great way. And the WURD listeners have been so instrumental in all of it, right? Just the other day, I saw Angela Duckworth this morning. And I had her on my show talking about grit. And I was like, yes, she was on WURD radio. I was so excited about it. But as usual, Mother has some things that she has to talk about. And I'm going to delve into that before I go any further. The first thing I need to say is, where is Tyrone? We have not heard from Tyrone in a couple of weeks. Somebody check to make sure that Tyrone is healthy and report back to Mother, please. He calls in at least once a day when I'm on the air, and I have not heard from Tyrone now. I've counted the days First it was Miss Mary, now it's Tyrone. So I just want to make sure that he is okay, and let him know that mother asked about him, okay? The second thing that I want to talk about is something that I read in the New York Times that so incensed me that I put something on my Facebook page, and I'm going to read it to you, because I have to tell you, and only to find out that it is my dear friend who I grew up with in Jamaica. It is her husband's aunt. Did not know that when I posted the article. So, Black doctor dies of COVID-19 after complaining of racist treatment. He made me feel like a drug addict, Dr. Susan Moore said, accusing a white doctor of downplaying her complaints of pain and suggesting she should be discharged. This was written by John Elligan from the New York Times. Lying in a hospital bed with an oxygen tube hugging her nostrils, the Black patient gazed into her smartphone and with a strained voice complained of an experience all too common among Black people in America. Susan Moore, the patient, said the white doctor at the hospital in suburban Indianapolis, where she was being treated for COVID-19, had downplayed her complaints of pain. He told her that he felt uncomfortable giving her more narcotics, she said, and suggested that she would be discharged. I was crushed, she said, on a video posted to Facebook. He made me feel like I was a drug addict. In her post, which has since circulated widely on social media, she showed a command of complicated medical terminology and an intricate knowledge of treatment protocols as she detailed the ways in which she had advocated for herself with the medical staff. She knew what to ask for because she, too, was a medical doctor. But that was not enough to get her treatment and respect she said she deserved. I put forth and I maintain if I was white, she said in the video, I wouldn't have to go through that. After Dr. Moore, 52, complained about her treatment, she received the treatment that she received, that she had adequately treated her pain. She was eventually sent home, and on Sunday, just more than 2 weeks after posting the video, Dr. Moore died of complications from COVID-19 with, said her son, Henry Muhammad. Now, okay, this is not the way I wanted to end the year, right? Like I kept saying to myself, all right, Andrea, just give people a pass. But if we don't use our voices for good, then what purpose are we serving, right? So I had Dr. Thomas Farley on the show on Tuesday and brought up the same thing to him. I said, can you tell me why? What are we doing to deal with the fact that so many Black and brown people, specifically, well, what you call minorities here in America, I don't like that term, are going through so much with the medical industry. Juwan went through something very similarly. I can't talk about that openly, but with a chief surgeon at CHOP, I went through it. My husband went. Like all the people that I know, it's not an anomaly. It happens all the time. And we keep insisting that there needs to be something. My sister, my youngest sister who lives in Virginia, went through something very similar. And I got in my car, drove to that doctor's office, and when we got finished, we called the 1-800 number. We wrote a letter about how she treated my sibling. The other sibling that was in Atlanta got on the phone and started calling people. And it spoke to what Alfora Gordon says here. She says, what we need to learn is to pay attention to those announcements that should be on every medical practice that you enter. That gives the 1-800 number for OSHA's HIPAA when there's any medical issue with Doctor Care Hospital. Call that number. The hospital and doctors can be fined, something I knew because we did it in my family, can lose medical standing and accreditation. You have to strike where it counts, in their pockets. I had to use it. My doctor was in a hurry. Decided they couldn't wait. Let me just make sure. Decided that they couldn't wait for me to get there. I was already there, though, in the waiting room. How about the doctor locked her door and left me in the waiting room? How about the pharmacist informed me, sorry, they left without instructions. Your meds were contaminated. The manufacturers warned the pharmacy and the doctor, but no one told me. This medicine was for angina. I contacted HIPAA. I guarantee you, before I got home, I had a reply, meds, apology. You know how they say in the hood, they ain't the one, that's how you have to be in healthcare. And so I'm asking all of you to advocate for yourselves, right? I have said this to you time and again. When you are not treated well by doctors and nurses, fire them. I have said very openly on this radio station that there are several hospitals that I will pass, and I'm talking about hospitals that you all love so much, but I have seen black and brown people go in there with a backache and come out in a body bag, right? I've seen the way they tell people we don't want that doctor, we don't want black people treating us. I've seen it. I've seen the nurses behaving with disdain. My oldest son was having chest pains when he was in college, just before he got out of college. I think at this point it was an anxiety attack. And the nurse came into the room, and the first thing she said to him was, well, why do you have a tattoo? Don't you know that's branding up your body and da-da-da-da-da? And my son, this is when I knew my job as a parent was over. He was all of 19. He looked at her and he said, I came in here with a problem. If you don't understand, it was a Kappa Alpha Psi brand that he had on him. He said, if you don't understand that of which you speak, he said, I would ask that you say nothing at all. And if you can't treat me without giving me an opinion about a brand that I have on my body that resonates for those of us as African American, then I would ask that you go and find somebody else to treat me. And I said to myself, well, Black Jesus, my son has been, and that was how he handled her. And I thought that was such a good thing. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to advocate, because these folks are not going to do the right things for you. So I'm telling, and I'm hoping that someone from the Philadelphia Health Department is listening. I'm hoping that the medical doctors and the nurses that have consistently been denigrating to black and brown people, and let me just tell you, it doesn't matter how much money you made. I have seen way too many times where we've been diagnosed too late. We've been told that it's all in our heads. My friend Margaret Livermore wrote a piece that's getting ready to be printed this week about not just the medical field, but how we are treated all the time. And it is absolutely horrific, horrendous. And let me tell you something. We're not going to take to the streets and protest again. We're asking you, we're demanding that you treat us well as human beings, right? We're paying our taxes. We are paying for our health insurance, you know, those of us who have it. And even if we don't have health insurance, we deserve to be treated well in these Wakandan streets. Do not look at us and see our black and brown skins and decide that you can just talk to us any old kind of way. It is unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. And the time has long since come for us to do better about all of this. Over it. So this doctor's death will not be in vain, because as you can see, even when you're a medical doctor, they treat you like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, because I guess her medical school was different from everybody else's medical school. And so implicit bias work training needs to happen. It must happen. We've got to do better with the patients, right? I've seen patients sitting in hospital rooms. I'm looking for something I need to read. Sitting in hospital rooms for long periods of time because they were not believed. And so, and I don't care if you all get upset. I just need my black and brown people we've struggled and suffered this year. It's 2020. COVID hit us hard. Many of us lost jobs. Many people lost their businesses. Many people lost their family members. We can't travel. We can't go anywhere. And being black is a metaphysical condition that a lot of you still can't explain. And I am over it. Start treating us better, okay? Please. We had to get Dr. Ayla to jump up and start the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium because she was getting calls time and again that black folks would show up and being told things like, well, you know, you need to have a doctor's note. Well, you know, we're not testing you. Well, all these things. And when she jumped out and she did it, you better believe she met some roadblocks, but she kept going. She absolutely kept going and became the voice for us. She had misgivings about taking this vaccine. She said it very openly and publicly in many places. She talked to Cherry Gregg. She's been on MSNBC and CNN, and she kept saying, I'm not really sure, but because so many people said that if she did it, they would believe her. That's why she went and did it. And we've put ourselves on the line, those of us who have voices for each and every one of you. And so whether you want a vaccine or you don't want a vaccine, all I'm asking you is this. Make sure that when you step into a doctor's office, they treat you with the same level of respect that they treat a white patient that walks through the door. Otherwise, turn around and fire them and don't go back, right? And then complain. Call the 1-800 number and write a review. You're right, Vicky. Write a review about what's going on because they're horrendous. They're absolutely horrendous. All right, Mother needs to take a deep breath. Then I get, because I want to rant today, and I have great guests coming on, so I want to get all of this stuff out. I get a phone call that the principal of Martin Luther King High School has been MIA. Not showing up for her meetings, not being there. The students, she sets meetings and then she doesn't show up for the meeting. The students don't know what's going on with their end of year yearbook pictures. And so, you know, Mother, I always make a few phone calls, and I made some phone calls, and what I was told was, we're not really sure what's going on over there, right? But here's the deal. if we're talking about the fact that over 20 schools in this city are at 0%, at their 0% achievement level. Not everybody can afford to pay for private schools. Not everybody can afford to go live in the suburbs, although I got to tell you, living in the suburbs is no walk in the park, because we go through some things in the suburbs and we still have to advocate for our children. I have a young lady coming on at 2 o'clock today talking about the AP and advanced placement courses and the fact that we are not often put in, and when we're put in, we're treated with disdain. That happened to my oldest son. I had to walk in there again with a long stick, you know. We don't have to raise our voices, but we certainly can let people know that we are to be valued. And so there is so much. It is so much. It is so much. So this principal has not been anywhere. We can't find her. The photographer, the children need their pictures done. The photographer is saying he didn't even get paid from last year. So I need a follow-up. I need someone from the Philadelphia School District to call me, please, because I called over there, got to speak to someone. They were like, we will follow up and get back to you. But our children in this district deserves a better treatment. Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? It is no longer acceptable to pass the buck and say, well, it's the building. Well, it's because the teachers don't get paid. Well. I also heard that this principal does not have staff meetings. Now, y'all, come on and correct mother. I'm just telling you what was said to me. I'm telling you that I did my due diligence and called over to the district. Somebody call mother and tell me that I am incorrect, because there are family members that are irritated, students that are irritated. And when the building leader is not showing up to lead, then what do we have over there? You can't blame the children when there's nobody leading them over there. Now, if I am wrong, please come and tell me. And I'll be the first one to say mea culpa, and I apologize. I will apologize publicly, but I've done my due diligence. So, hi, everybody. I see everybody talking to me on Facebook. I'll talk to you when we get to the, oh, I have a list of good black doctors in Philadelphia, Lucy Lou. Mother did a whole collection and have been sharing them with people, from the eye doctor to the OBGYN to the cardiologist. I think the only doctor that I don't know that's black is a podiatrist. So we'll work that out. But yeah, we are not playing out here. And then there was another article, and I don't know if I'll be able to open this up. Of a couple's baby that was taken after a traffic stop. God almighty, these people have lost their minds. This is what being black in America looks like. Joseph Simmons sent this to me. Thank you, Michael. I'll get to all these people in a minute. I'm going to pull this up. New Jersey couple's baby was taken after a North Carolina traffic stop. Pay attention out here in these streets, people. They've been trying for weeks to get him back. Update, they just put up an update that their home stopped heading home with their son, but they don't have custody. So let me read a little bit of this. I don't know, Tiffany. I don't know how a principal can just disappear, but you're all going to find out for me. The baby boy was taken away. This was written by Rebecca Panico by NewJersey.com. The baby was taken away after a 3 a.m. traffic stop. That's about the only thing a New Jersey couple and the North Carolina authorities who arrested them agree happened on the night of December 3rd. Raymond Shaley Sykes, 34, and Kalia Bulware, 27, of Manchester Township, haven't had custody of their 9-month-old son since the night they say sheriff's deputies from Montgomery County, North Carolina, drew their guns violently, beat Sykes with a baton in the baby's presence, and searched their vehicle for 2 hours. The couple told New Jersey Advanced Media they nervously complied with officers' orders prior to the traffic stop escalating. Yahweh, please protect me, Sykes said. He shouted, hands in a prayer formation in the air as he walked towards the hoods of the deputy's car. Don't let these people hurt me. But the official law enforcement account tells a different story, as it always does. The car was stopped for suspicious driving, they said. The smell of marijuana permeated the vehicle, they said. The couple resisted officers' orders, and Sykes struck an officer with his fist, officers reported. Like we not black and living in America and know that, yeah, right, nah. The two now face misdemeanor possession of marijuana and paraphernalia charges. Bulware also faces minor traffic violations stemming from the stop, and Sykes faces charges of resisting a public officer and assault of a government official, both misdemeanors in North Carolina. Oh, Jesus. Neither Sykes nor Bulware were injured during their arrest, and they did not request medical attention, Montgomery Sheriff Chris Watkins said in a statement defending how his officers acted that night. There is no body cam video, of course, no dashboard footage, only the couple's word against the word of the police. Such cases have often been considered an open and shut with official police narrative serving as final authority. But Sykes and Bulwer, both black, say they were desperately trying to prove their account is correct while simultaneously fighting to win back custody of their son named Truth. It is 2020. These are the kinds of things that are still happening out here. When you travel, travel carefully. Just all these things. And all of this is going to come out. Remember me saying to you, when black folks are stopped and it's done in a nefarious manner, they will always come up with a different narrative. Oh, they tried to hurt me. They pulled their guns, only to find out they didn't pull the guns. They ran at me, only to find out the man was shot in the back 5 times. All sorts of crazy things. And as a people, black, white, or whatever, however you describe yourself, please understand that if we don't open our mouths and stand up and support one another, when it's your turn, who's going to be there to stand up for you, right? So I'm going to take a break because I have my first guest on, and I'm really excited about this. Somebody find Tyrone and let me know how Tyrone is doing so I can move on from there. Want to buy black for the holidays? We have got you covered. WURD Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wurdradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wurdradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Man, this coronavirus has us all moving differently.
No doubt. Like washing our hands more and social distancing with the crew. I'm always telling people to give me 6 feet. We're here, Grandma.
There's my babies. Good to see you got your mask on.
Wear mask. Stop the spread. For more information, visit www.pa.gov/COVID.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
The people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, kind of work people more than 8 hours without overtime, kind of work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I am so excited to have this conversation, but Michael, my producer, Michael, from my heart to yours, thank you, my brother. Thank you. You and Brianna have been just absolutely phenomenal. I am a type A personality that wants my work done properly and with good conviction. And so they step into the gap. They know exactly what I'm looking for, and they do not play with mother. And so Mike and I go back and forth. And so, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I already thanked Brianna last week. You all have just been wonderful. Before I get to Ray Avery Jones, I want to share something with you. Michael said we should record every police interaction. This past summer, I put Keir Bradford Gray, myself, and my friend Denise James, and we got into a car and we drove to Virginia just for the day. Everybody was losing their minds. We kept our masks on, and we stayed at a beautiful bed and breakfast owned by a black woman. And we had a great time. and we went to stop to go to this restaurant, and a police officer, oh my God, stopped the Thor, my vehicle, because he said I was going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit in this town. Kier was sitting in the back seat of the car, her legs shaking, and she goes, and I had to remain calm, right? We were all three of us black women. We remained calm, and I said to him, I said, so let me ask you something. I went 1 mile. You saw that I was passing somebody, and so I had to speed up a little bit, and I went 1 mile over the speed limit. You gave me this ticket? He said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. You know, he was looking inside my car, looking at Thor, I guess he was trying to figure out, well, how these Negroes rate. And when I got home, guess what Mother did? I challenged. I told Kira, I said, I'm going to challenge the ticket. And guess who won? So let me tell you, you stay alive in these police interactions. Stay calm as much as you possibly can, unless they're trying to do something incredibly crazy with you. But I've had to challenge police departments over and again. They tried the same thing with my firstborn son in New Jersey. They did. I had to hire a lawyer, a civil rights lawyer, which cost me a pretty penny, but it was worth it to me to see the look on the judge's face when he said, I can't believe you are 26 years old and you don't have a criminal record. This can't be right. Did you finish college? This is how they talk to you in the system, right? And when we as black and brown people say this stuff, you all think that we're making it up and that we're crying much ado about nothing, until the country erupted with George Floyd's death, until you start to see that people have gotten so comfortable with taking our lives for granted that they're doing whatever they want to do. Anyway, I am moving on. Ray Avery Jones is the president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Delaware chapter. Michael, can you play that video for me, please? Oh, we can do this. The YouTube video. Thank you, my love. Hang on, guys. I think he's going to try and play this. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, Delaware chapter's
I'm
mission.
Ray Jones Avery.
There it is.
Chapter
Go ahead,
president
Michael.
of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated. We represent a movement of 61 affiliate chapters throughout the United States, advocating for gender equity and leadership development focused in 3 core areas: health, education, and economic development. Our shared national vision is that Black women and girls will live in a world where socioeconomic injustice simply does not exist. We are thrilled to announce the Delaware chapter has been awarded a Newcastle County CARES Act Health Equity Grant. This federal grant recognizes the efforts of Black women from all walks of life. We are on the front line daily fighting to prevent the continued spread of the COVID-19 virus. Black women are significantly represented as essential personnel, from food service to child care, in schools to personal services and health care. History teaches us if you want something done well, ask a Black woman. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women Delaware chapter has joined forces with the newly created Colored COVID-19 Commission of Black Women Physicians. Together, along with our community partners, we applaud Dr. Joan Coker, Dr. Shauna McIntosh, Dr. Velma Scantleberry, Dr. Sidney Teal, and Dr. Marshall Lee, who have stepped up to launch and guide our health equity campaign. This phenomenal, super knowledgeable, energetic group of scientists and healers are encouraging us to take the shot. There are so many aspects of our lives that are outside of our control. However, there are actions we can take right now and in the future to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our neighbors' health. There are no better messengers than our distinguished team of Black women doctors. They are truth tellers. In the coming months,
well. Good afternoon, Ray Avery Jones. How are you?
I'm hopeful. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. The piece was 25 minutes long, so we couldn't do the whole thing. I just wanted to get a brief synopsis of what's going on, and then you and I can talk. Thank you so much for joining us on The Source. It's a pleasure having you here. I am not sure how much you heard of my initial conversation when the show began at 1 p.m., if anything at all. Did you hear anything?
I heard from, yes, I heard from about 1:15, 1:12 up until now.
Okay, so what I began discussing at the beginning of the show at 1 o'clock was a black woman doctor who died from COVID-19 because the hospital where she was did not take her seriously, even though she knew the medical terminology, knew how to advocate for her health, and they sent her home, right? 2 weeks later, she died. She was 52 years old. So having you on, yes. So Dawn Angelique Roberts, thank you very much for connecting us, because having you on seemed like kismet to me. So we can start to talk about the inequities as it applies to black people first and black women second. We've been losing our lives in childbirth. In Montgomery County, in Norristown, the amount of stillbirths that are happening there for just black and brown women is alarming. And we get grant monies to look at the problem and massage the problem, but nothing seems to happen. So I'm heartened by the fact that the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Delaware chapter has gotten this grant. Can you tell us how this came about and what you intend to do with it?
Thank you. Yes, the Newcastle County, Delaware, receives federal dollars to address the mitigation of the spread of COVID, and the Coalition of 100 Black Women Delaware chapter. We are known in this region for our advocacy work. We didn't just start influencing and advocating for changes in public policy and the creation of new policy, because policy directs resources. So we were invited to apply for a grant, and the purpose of it is to provide resources that speak directly to the needs and concerns of black women in Delaware. We thought it was essential to develop culturally competent and relevant messages, programs, and materials so that the messengers look like the people that we are talking and sharing information with. So that's the purpose of the grant. It has three components. Messaging campaign by black women for black women. We have a series of virtual informational sessions, workshops, webinars. The webinar with physicians was just one. We just had one on Tuesday on grief. We are grieving in a lot of different ways, and how do we manage and confront our grief, and so that's one of the examples. We also earlier, when the pandemic first was declared a public health threat, Lynette Calfani-Cox did a very large workshop for us, again, virtually. She's the money coach around the economic implications of the pandemic. So that's just to give you some sense of what we've been doing. The third component of the grant, we are training people that live in neighborhoods that are trusted entities in their neighborhoods, so that they have information as people share with them the struggles that they are confronting, that they have the information to help to connect them with services and resources.
That's awesome.
So that's I'm just summarizing it, what we're working on.
Yes. So you have seen the disparities over and again as it applies to black women. How long does this funding last? How long will you be working through this? Is there a space in it? Let me ask you that. How long will the funding last? Let me start there.
Well, initially, the federal funding was to have been expended by December the 30th, which was, a part of the madness that goes on at the federal level. Mm-hmm. So now if this second stimulus bill gets passed, the dollars will be extended. But I just, through another year. But I just want to underscore that this is the work of the National Coalition every day. The pandemic has just pulled the Band-Aid off. It's amplified the inequities, as you already are very well aware of, that existed pre-COVID. It's just exacerbated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So here is my next question, and it's a two-part one. Do we have a list, and I'm really being intentional about this, do we have a list in Delaware, in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, in other parts across the country of black doctors that we trust, that we can send people to as they continue to deal with the disparities that are happening around them? Do we?
We have developed a list of not only of medical doctors, but we have links so that people can find competent mental health therapists
Yes.
Because we are mind, body, and soul, as you know. So yes, we have developed those resources, and they can be found on beyondthemask.info.
All right, wait a minute.
No,
Beyond the
I can't speak beyond the mask.
Mask. Okay.
Because we're talking about, we want everyone to continue to wear their mask, but we have needs that go beyond mask wearing and hand washing. We did focus groups, and women are sharing with us what they're experiencing. I cannot speak to whether there is a list in Philadelphia, but I certainly can work with the physicians that we have organized and they're volunteering for us and serving as a resource. I'm positive that they have colleagues in Philadelphia that we can get that information posted as well. They are part of the National Medical Association.
Okay, so that's excellent, because now I'm having people asking, is there a New Jersey list? I have a list for Philadelphia area, Montgomery, Bucks County. I have a list that I'm going to share with all of you. I just need a little bit of a break because my voice is tired now. So I'll get it to you before the new year starts. I'm talking to the WURD listeners. The other question that I have for you is, how are we holding doctors and nurses in these hospitals accountable by, is anyone talking about implicit bias training, diversity include? What are we doing? Is anyone addressing that? Because we don't have enough black doctors right now to cover all the people that are going to inundate them, with needing services. What are we doing to address the not so good Caucasian doctors, and there are far too many of them, who are not taking our health and well-being seriously? Do you know?
Dr. Sidney Teal, one of the head physicians at the Christiana Care, which is the largest healthcare system in Delaware, is leading that equity work. And as you know, addressing implicit bias is a journey.
Yes, it is.
It's not a workshop and let's read a book and now we're all anti-racist. And so she is leading that work at the Christiana Care. But we as consumers, we must just feel confident and learn to be empowered to stand up for ourselves. And so our spirit tells us when something isn't right.
Yes.
And when people try to send you home or say, I'm not leaving. The other evening, a man with COVID, a family member's friend, they attempted to release him from the hospital. He had no ride.
And so they were just going to put him out there.
They were just going to put him out there, and they called me and said, can you help? And I said, tell him not to leave.
And it's difficult because I've seen the medical personnel. You've got to get out. You've got to do. We know what we're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I had a woman contact me and said she kept saying she was having heart issues, that something was wrong with her heart. She went to the hospital, and they kept saying, there's nothing wrong with your heart. We did a chest x-ray. You're fine. She goes to the eye doctor, a black eye doctor, and the doctor looked in her eyes and said, so your heart, there's blockage in your heart, right? And she said she felt so heard and seen, but it took the eye doctor to have a conversation with her so that she went back to the doctors and said, so I told her, I said, don't go back to those doctors, fire them and find doctors that will listen to you. They just, it's frustrating. And then when we feel so unheard, the mistrust comes in where we don't want to show up in the system. We don't want to go unless it's a dire emergency. And oftentimes it's too late, So
you are
I'm glad
100% correct. And we end up in the emergency room. And so this is real talk. And so listeners, please listen. You have the right to be treated as a human being. You have the right to access care, even if you don't have the resources. You still have the right, because physicians took an oath to save lives. And so advocate for yourself. When you don't feel well, go.
Yep, I agree. Oh my gosh. I want to congratulate you all for doing this phenomenal work and for pushing the needle forward. And you're absolutely right. Those resources and those federal dollars would not have come your way if you just popped up out of the popcorn can somewhere. You clearly have been doing your work. And so I am on behalf of the WURD listeners, on behalf of Black and brown people everywhere. This may just be starting in Delaware, but I'm hoping by no means that this is where it ends. And I'm glad to hear you say that equity work is not just a workshop and read a book. I had this conversation yesterday with a woman, and the first thing she said to me was, I already know. We looked you up. We understand that you're not coming to talk to us, and we read a book, and that's the end of that. It is sustainable work that takes 1 to 2 to 3, sometimes 4 years, depending on what's going on in the organization. And it's ongoing work, and it moves at the speed of trust, and it's hard work, you know? And so when someone calls me and say, we'd like you to do a meeting, in diversity and inclusion meeting or an implicit bias meeting, what are you charging for the meeting? And I was like, what? No, you're talking to the wrong person. There are people with no integrity that will do that, but I'm telling you now, you want to do this work, you have to be all in, or don't call people like me, because I'm not doing it, right? So I just want to thank you. I want to thank you, Ms.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And our message to African American women, Black women, because we come from different countries, and brown women, our call to action is to take a breath.
Yes.
To take a break, to rest and renew. Even in the midst of a pandemic, and especially in the midst of a pandemic, we need to be exercising self-care, eating right, focusing on our emotional wellness. Take a breath. You too. Take a breath.
Thank you. This is my last day for. This is my last day for the year. I'm taking off next week, and I'm doing just that. I'm taking a breath, taking a break. I'm doing self-care. I'm going to rest my voice, and hopefully I'll be able to sleep for more than 5 hours. So thank you so much, Ray Avery Jones. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you. And happy holidays to you, Andrea. God bless you.
Yes, God
Keep
bless
doing
you
what
too.
you're
And please,
doing.
thank you, ma'am. And please convey to the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, your Delaware chapter, that we are very proud of them. We're learning from your footsteps, and we hope to continue to follow and replicate it all around the country. Have a good holiday, ma'am.
Thank you. And you have a Pennsylvania chapter, Latifah K. Fields. We'll get her in touch.
Oh, I know exactly who she is. Yes. So I can't wait to talk to Latifah when I get off the air with you. So this is good stuff.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good one. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
A holiday message to help us all and answer an important question.
We will never know how many of our friends and family members didn't get COVID-19 because we followed safeguards. We'll never know that number. This is Dan Hilferty, CEO of Independence Blue Cross, with a simple reminder of how much good we do for others when we protect ourselves. We'll never know how many lives we save because we wear masks, wash our hands frequently, and keep social distance. We'll never know exactly who we help, who we save when we take protective steps each day. We'll only know one thing for certain, that we did all we could to save people from the effects of a pandemic with the potential to overwhelm the region. And that's a nice thing for us to live with. Thank you all. For more on what you can do, visit ibx.com. Together, we are beating COVID-19.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
PHL, don't let your guard down. This is your majority leader and Councilwoman Sherelle Parker. As the holidays approach, we've all heard the news. A vaccine for COVID-19 is coming. However, now is not the time to let your guard down. Keep wearing your mask, practice social distancing, and avoid large get-togethers. It's going to take time before we all get vaccinated. Keep yourself, your family, and community safe. We will get through this pandemic together. Stay safe, PHL. Stop the spread.
Word Family. Join Brother Shamari for a deep dive into the Kwanzaa season, focusing on the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Sunday, December 27th from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday and Tuesday from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Then on Friday, January 1st from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. All week, our programs will feature conscientious contemplation, insightful inspiration, and various guests who will provide spoken word, drumming, music, affirmations, meditations, storytelling, testimony, and fellowship. That's Brother Shamari, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lockville Sanders on WURD Radio, streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you are just joining us, I had at the 1:20 hour Ray Avery Jones, president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and she was talking about a grant they were awarded for a COVID campaign targeting Black women. Really, really good stuff. Let me tell you some of the things that she said. I like to recap for you guys so that if you're just joining me, they're doing a messaging campaign for Black women, by Black women, workshop and a series workshop sessions and some webinars, and they're talking about the economic implications of the pandemic and training people who are trusted in their neighborhoods to really be advocates on behalf of those who can't speak up for themselves. Just really great conversation, right on the heels of my talking about a Black woman doctor at the age of 52 who died from complications of COVID because doctors in the hospitals did not take her seriously, despite the fact that she was a medical doctor herself. And so I am, the goal is to get us to really become, to lift our voices, lift your voices, even if it's shaking, lift your voices. Right? Because what happens is we get frustrated, we shrug our shoulders, we walk away. But if you lift your voices and look people square in the eye, and when I say lift your voice, I don't mean scream. I mean lift your voice in a way that you sound serious to them. I know what you said, but this is how I am feeling. I need someone to come and help me, because what people would often do is call security or call the police. I'm not asking you to lift your voice in a belligerent manner, but lift your voice in a serious manner that gets someone to listen to you and understand you, and then file a formal complaint against the hospital, that particular physician, the nurse, whoever. It's the only way we're going to get our voices heard. We cannot continue to stand in corners and whisper down the lane about how horribly we are being treated. Not everybody has a platform like I do. I'm using mine responsibly. But I really need you. If you're a community leader, if you're just someone living next door to someone who needs help, so raise your voices and ask respectfully, but seriously, that you get some help. All right, Rick from Germany, thank you for waiting, my brother. How are you?
Dying slowly here in Germany, my sister, dying slowly.
Dying slowly. What's going on?
I speak to you with CIA fish parasites of the large type swimming in my lower colon and gut. I speak to you with minor brain damage because of tuberculosis of the spine that I was born with, which was a part of a pox introduced into my family over 3 generations by white physicians there in America. In 2003, I was poisoned with this parasite from the CIA, and that was to close my mouth after they had opened my mouth on talk radio there in Washington, D.C., on WOL for a number of years, and they'd listened to me for a number of years, and they realized I wasn't afraid to identify myself personally, identify my family as a military and medical family, and I just want to say that there is more to this pox, this coronavirus that meets the eye. There's more to just being many different types of strains. It's meant to frighten people from getting together and talking about history and politics and changing America.
Are you there, Rick? Are you gone? Is he gone?
No, I'm still here, my sister.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to do a great deal to change the way my family eats and the way my family thinks about health and the way they think about politics and the way they think about university education. Many of my family think I'm the crackpot in the family. But I was there when my mother was medically studied for tuberculosis, right down to her defecating in a styrofoam cup and placing that styrofoam cup in the refrigerator until she could get it to a doctor to study. That made an impact on me as a child and made me want to understand medicine in America. Many gay people had an impact on my life and study as well. And they were not ashamed to say that there were sad games played on gay people before HIV/AIDS occurred in America. Sister, I think tuberculosis has had a great impact on Philadelphia from the 1920s to the 1950s, and many people are walking around with variations on that disease that have gone undiagnosed. Many black doctors are afraid to talk about eugenics and bioweapons in America. I've had my say. I'll listen to you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I want to wish you and your family well. There's just some things that it's interesting when you are knowledgeable and when you read. I am not agreeing or denying anything that you're saying. All I am saying to people is pay attention and read. Read for yourself. Look up the stuff. We're in some interesting times, but you have a good holiday. Can you email me, please?
Sister, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yes, I'd like you to email me.
I want to say, as far as the medical profession goes, please demand more than 5 minutes of diagnosis time from your physician. If a physician can't give you 20 minutes of time, find a new physician.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. Thank you so much, Rick. Stay on the line, and Michael will give you my email address, okay? All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Miss T, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Lord, when I take this break, I don't think I'm going to talk for about 5 days, Miss T. How are you?
Listen, you make me out of breath, and I'm sitting here listening. But I do want to say this. We need to have a sense of entitlement like white people have. We're worth it. I have worked in several hospitals. I've been a health advocate for my mom. She just passed in April, 99. She just passed my uncle, my husband, all within the span of 3 years. I've lost all three of them. But because I've worked in hospitals, worked in the ER, I see how some of these doctors are. And since I've gotten older, I've gotten much more pushy.
Yes.
I don't care how they feel. I know how I feel, and you're not going to let me out if I'm not feeling good. I've had to address that with my mom on the occasions that she's had to go to the hospital. They were saying, oh, she's okay and all, and I'm like, no, something's not right, and I want her to be admitted. Do what you have to do. She has the insurance. You know, can we get an attending doctor? See, if you know all those things, they don't take you lightly. But everyone doesn't know it. But you can say, be very forceful and say, I'm not feeling good, and I don't want to leave out of here and fall out. So that's my spin. That's all I have to say. I don't hardly call him, but I listen. And like I said, child, you need a rest. And you tire me out. I feel like I've been running a marathon.
Ooh, Miss T, I put every bit of energy that I have into this radio show.
I know.
You know?
You could bring a horse to water. You can't make him drink.
Make him drink. I know.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to realize that some people are getting help. You know, those who want to be helped will be helped. And those who don't, well, then, you know, they'll hear, and somebody else will be able to water them.
And all you could do is put it out there, and they'll take what they need. And if they don't, you've done your part.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All
You
right.
have a
Take care.
wonderful
Have a good holiday.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Do you want to help kids in foster care? CASA Youth Advocates is seeking volunteers of color to advocate for the youth they serve. 50% of kids in the Delaware and Chester County foster care system are children of color, yet only 9% of CASA Youth Advocate volunteers are people of color. Children in foster care greatly benefit from advocates who look like and can relate to them. They desperately need more volunteers of color. Visit delcocasa.org for more info. That's www.delcocasa.org.
Tune in to onWURD's 2020 in Black podcast series, available now on your favorite podcast app, or visit WURDradio.com/2020 in Black. You can also ask your favorite device to play onWURD 2020 in Black. Check us out.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. Let's talk about eating mindfully. Often we are rushing from moment to moment and we hurry through our eating like it's checking off an item on our to-do list. Each day for each meal, let's commit to doing these 3 simple things to activate our mindful eating experience. Number 1, slow down. Number 2, eat while you're sitting down. And number 3, chew each bite 20 to 30 times. You can do it. Eating mindfully is something we can all do to support our overall health and digestion. Go ahead and try it for your next meal today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio, streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. While I am waiting for my next 2 guests to call in, Ava President and Christian Gaines, you all know Mother loves the young people, right? So I can't wait to talk to them. It is befitting that I end the year talking to young people, because I started the year talking to young people and encouraging, and they're both on the line. Well, praise be Black Jesus. Ava President is currently a senior at Cheltenham High School in Wyncote, Pennsylvania. She is a student activist who is passionate about learning and is currently spearheading an initiative within her school to promote racial diversity in both honors and advanced placement courses. She was also recently published in the 74 Million for her essay discussing educational equity. Christian, 18, is a senior at Newtown North High School and is rising into his final stage as a student at the Paul Robeson Institute for Positive Self-Development by Concerned Black Men of Massachusetts, Incorporated. His journey growing up as a Black and Peruvian American young man in Philadelphia and now Greater Boston have both informed his commitment to serving his community. Christian aspires to bring social and educational equity to his community and beyond by leading Black Lives Matter protests. Oh yeah, this is about to be a really good conversation. Praise the Lord. I'm going to need 2 segments for these young people. Christian aspires to bring social and educational equity to his community and beyond by leading Black Lives Matter protests, establishing anti-racism initiative platforms such as Newton Overdue, and striving to be a role model for his Black and brown peers and youth especially. Christian and Ava, good afternoon to the both of you.
Good afternoon.
Oh, I'm so excited. I get so excited talking to young people. Where do we want to start? So, Ava, listen, I know quite a bit of what's happening over at Cheltenham School District. Can you share with me what you wrote about recently? I did read the article. Your aunt, who is Sarah Lomax, resent it to me, and she knew immediately that this was something that I would want to talk about. Can you describe to people what your article was about and what response did you get from it?
Yes, definitely. So my article was about my acknowledgement of the deep disparities in my school that I see in AP and honors classes with in terms of racial diversity. And so my article was really talking about how my school and schools across the country need to take an initiative to ensure that Black students are being fairly represented in higher level classes and are being afforded the opportunities and the resources to succeed and excel in these courses.
Okay.
And the response I've gotten has been great.
So tell me give me some examples of the response that you have gotten.
From my peers, I think a lot of people, it really resonated with them, and they understand what I'm talking about. They see it in school every day, and it really resonates with them because they understand what it's like to be a Black student in a public school where you might not always be afforded the same opportunities as your white peers. And then some people in my community, there was someone that reached out to my mom who had said that this is the same issue that she's been seeing in my township for 10 years. And when her children came 10 years ago through the Cheltenham School District, they noticed the same issues. And so it's disheartening to hear that it's still happening 10 years later, but it's still, it was important to know that people were appreciative of what I was talking about. So
yeah. So Ava, I'm going to share something with you. That goes back way beyond 10 years. I first became intimately involved with Cheltenham Township School District in the late 90s, early 2000s. Back then, there were they considered themselves diverse. They prided themselves in the diversity of their community. There were a lot of Jewish families there, and they talked about the fact that they moved there because of the diverse student population. I noticed something, though, that was very interesting to me. It was cool that the community was diverse as long as those same children, those same Black and brown children, were not afforded the opportunities to get into the advanced placement and honors classes. And then a shift happened where Cheltenham Township is now 52% African American. Am I correct in saying that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then there was, because there was quote unquote white flight. Many of those families moved from Cheltenham Township and went to Upper Dublin. They didn't come to Abington for the most part because, Abington and Cheltenham have always had some sort of rivalry. But they would go to different school districts, Springfield and Upper Dublin, Jenkintown Township. And so the question then becomes, what has happened? If we've moved to 52%, and those same families, some of them were Black, I would call the upper echelon Blacks would say, well, it's the Black people that are living in the apartment complex that's bringing down the community. What are the lessons that you've learned watching all of this transpire? And what is your ultimate goal now that you're 10, 15, 20, almost 30 years later, that you're a senior at Cheltenham High School in Wyncote? What is the ultimate goal for you with the writing of this piece, and what do you want to see happen?
I think what we want to see happen is change, and not just at the high school level, but throughout the entire district. I think we need to have interventions as young as elementary school to stop students from being tracked into different levels based on ability, and that happens as young as elementary school. And that sets Black children up for a more difficult time in high school if they've never been afforded the opportunities and the support to want to take harder classes. They're not going to suddenly jump in high school to want to take a college-level class. So it has to start earlier. And so I guess our goal is to make that change more natural so that teachers and administrators all throughout the district understand our differences, but also are able to work with those differences to make sure every student can succeed.
Mm-hmm. What role do you think parents play in this, Ava?
I think parents play the role of advocacy for their kids, and that's the most important thing, especially in a large school district like mine. Sometimes things can slip through the cracks, and students might not be getting what they need. So parents have to advocate for their students and make sure they're on top of what's going on in their students' education, what classes they're taking, and being prepared, but definitely advocacy.
Mm-hmm. I have one more question for you, and I'm going to Christian, but I'm going to mingle the both of you in a minute. You're in advanced placement and honors classes?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah, I'm not shocked. So in your class, are you seeing, in those classes, how many black and brown students are you seeing?
I would not say a lot. The classes are predominantly white, and the students that I do know, it's a pretty stagnant group of black students that have pretty much been taking these classes since ninth grade. The group does not change. We pretty much move along together, and I could probably count on my fingers the people that I really know that are taking these classes in a really in-depth. So, yeah.
Here's something that I'd like to also share with you. So this is happening everywhere, as I'm sure you can imagine, right? In varying degrees of alarming behaviors. One of the things we did, I lived in Abington for almost 3 decades before I moved to Philadelphia a couple of years ago. And one of the things we did was really start making sure that teachers could trust us. So teachers would call us and say, I really believe so-and-so belongs in the honors classes, but their parents will not call. Can you figure out how to help that parent advocate for that child to get into the class, right? The other thing we did was we formed a parent group that pulled one of the parents in that parent group had a set of twins, Shaquilla Holt, and those twins went with a proposal to the middle school principal called the Honors Tour, and it was it was given the green light, and they would take the middle school students into the elementary schools to talk to the elementary school students about getting into honors. That at 4th grade, 3rd and 4th grade, it all begins to matter. What are the things that they love to do? You know, am I making sense, Ava? Ava's gone? Ava, are you there? Did we lose Ava? I'm having a good conversation. Where did Ava go? All right, so let me move on to Christian. Christian, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Did I lose Ava?
Hi, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. So I was giving you an idea of what you could do over at Cheltenham Township, because it's going to take a combination of students. When the younger students in the elementary schools see your face, right, at the middle and high school levels, go to them and talk to them about taking the honors classes, not to be afraid, that it really helps them to give them a leg up in college, that college won't seem as hard for them if they take the advanced placement and honors courses, in middle and high school, right? Does that sound like something that you would want to do or to pass on to those since you're graduating soon?
Yes, it's actually really funny that you said that, because we actually have a presentation series put together already, and we are getting ready to host a series of Zoom meetings with middle and elementary school children in our district to do the exact same thing that you just said, and talk to them about taking these classes. So, yeah.
Yes, this is why, and the young shall lead them. I love it. Where are you planning to go to college?
I actually don't know yet, but I actually don't know yet.
Okay, so you applied. You already applied, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're just waiting for your decision. Okay. All right. Hold on, Ava. Christian, now do you both know each other?
Yes. Yeah. Ava and I went to primary school together.
Oh, so Christian, you heard me talking to Ava. Where do you fall in this? Because, woo, child, at 18, you were taking no prisoners, not one. And I love it. It just warms the cockles of my heart. Where do you fall in all of this? What's going on with you in Boston?
Yeah, so I live right outside of Boston in a city called Newton, and it is vastly different than sort of the area in Wyncote or Cheltenham High School that Ava's talking about demographically. So here, there's only the entire city is made up 80% white, and there's about only 3.5% of black community here. So there's a lot more fewer folks in our schools and sort of in my classes, of course, similar to what Ava was speaking about with the classes sort of being disproportionately distributed. And so sort of my story that I shared in the 74 Million campaign was more about the ostracization and the division that's been in the school for many years. And something that sort of that sticks out, a lot is that my community or my city is one of the most privilege in the country. And it has, especially my school, it's in the top 5 of the most expensive public high schools built in the country. Yet we still cannot provide a healthy learning space for Black students where they can graduate and feel fulfilled for having that high school experience.
Yeah.
So I try to share a little bit about how, just in this one anecdote about one of my dear friends, who sort of was racially abused out of the school, how that represents a pattern, a history the school had, and it's a small view into a larger message I've been pushing since the beginning of the summer, when I was inspired to take the call to action from the resurgence of the movement of racial justice and for Black lives. That essentially, my town, even though we embrace this identity of progressiveness, we are not showing up for it. We cannot just express the message and not have anything to back it up with the way in which we treat our students. And so I'm in my final year, similar to Ava. I'm looking to inspire younger ones below me to take the baton and run with it, because I see just as much power in their voices I do see in mine.
Yeah. So what you are both describing is a microcosm of suburban school districts across the country. I remember quite openly sitting in a Parents as Leaders, and I talk about this story all the time. That woman has not spoken to me since. Parents as Leaders program that was run through by the United Way and in the state of Pennsylvania. And really, that's how I got started, because I had young children and was trying to figure out how to navigate the schools. Even though I had degrees, it felt like I was walking in a foreign land, literally, when we would walk into the school building as a parent. They would have all these acronyms thrown at you. They would have these long desks sit out, and all the educators would sit on the one side, and the parent would sit on the other side, and they would look down in a condescending manner. So I was trying to figure out how to move forward, right? And so one of the trainers of this program is a Jewish woman that probably still lives in Cheltenham School District. And she had me until she said, this one particular day, we were talking about diversity and inclusion, and she says, research has shown that no matter how much money a Black family makes, no matter where they live, no matter how big their homes are, no matter the kinds of cars they drive or the college degrees that they have, that Black children cannot learn at the same capacity as white children. She said that with me sitting in the room. Ava and Christian, if you could see my face, I lifted my eyes, tilted my head, and I said, who told you that? And she says, well, it's just data. Why are the Black children not doing well? Their parents are living in bigger houses than I do, and they're just not doing well. It can't be anything other than the fact that they're just not capable of learning. And so when I share that anecdote with you to say is this: the mindsets of people can be incredibly damaging. Even the ones that think that, and she considered herself a great ally to Black and brown people, right? Her children were in all the honors classes and advanced placement classes and were fast tracking to the top universities in the country. But as far as she was concerned, these are the children that she's trying so hard, these poor Black and brown children who, their parents moved them into these wonderful, diverse communities, and they're trying to do well with them. They can't seem to make do because they're just not as smart. What do you say to that kind of conversation? And let me say this to you, by the way, it continues to happen. What do you say to adults who continue to have that kind of dialogue about Black children?
Well, I believe, to begin, that first off, allyship cannot be a thing where the majority or white folks feel that they are reaching down to pick us up. It needs to be more of they're standing with us, not standing above us. And so I think in that lane, I feel that it's coming from a place of pity, that sort of mindset. But I believe the black folks, the black parents, should be talking about their own truth, not the white woman, like asserting that black students are just incapable of it, because we know that's not true.
Right.
We see there's a tremendous rise in student body presidents at elite Ivy League universities across the country who are black. Harvard University just elected their first black man to student body as student body president, Noah Harris. My dear friend Khalil Green was the first student body president of Yale University. So we know there's great students out there. We know that there's brilliant black minds all over the country, and I believe all black people have potential.
We're brilliant people. We're brilliant, Christian.
Yes, exactly. So it's there definitely needs to be. I believe that woman hopefully can become better informed that there's systemic inequities that hold people back, even if you live to the house next to them. There's different sort of biases and sort of there's different things that you have to face in a school environment that my white classmates might not feel. As Ava was suggesting, or in her letter, stereotype threat and implicit bias in classes can make you feel other in that classroom. So there's a lot more to the table. There's a lot more in the equation than just thinking that black students aren't trying enough.
What do you say, Ava, to that anecdote that I just shared with you?
I think that's really profound, and I think that woman in the story, it really highlights a white savior complex almost, and what Christian, it points to the point that Christian brought up about black parents needing to speak for their children instead of having a white person speak on behalf of their children, and just points to the fact that black voices need to be amplified in these kind of situations instead of spoken for and spoken over, which is what your story basically highlighted, was what that woman was doing. And, again, I absolutely do not believe that socioeconomic status has anything to do with intelligence level.
Thank you.
Whether you're rich or poor, no matter where you live, what school district, it has nothing to do with your capabilities. And I mean, that's just clearly highlighted in my peers at school and people that I know. I mean, it has absolutely no withstanding evidence that that's even a valuable point or a valid point.
So to what do you attribute the fact that there's brilliance in our ranks, yet we continue to be held back at alarming rates? To what do you attribute that? What is at play here in your minds? What is at play here when you see your classmates who are clearly capable of getting into these classes, yet they're not there? What do you think is at play here?
I believe it's expectation gaps. I believe, there was a time when I, was trying to help my friends out, but at a certain point, it comes down to them, and it's their choice. But if they don't have the right supports around them, or if they're not having continual sort of encouragement, saying that there's a lot more to them than, say, just playing on the basketball team, or there's a lot more ahead of them, such as sort of the college or universities they can attend, then there aren't real affirmations in their lives to keep them going. So I believe that's one thing. Another would be societal pressures, just sort of telling you your place in a school. In my school, for instance, my friends who are, say, on the football team or basketball team, similar to what I was talking about before, is the white peers in my schools will cheer for them while they're on the court, while they're on the field, but when they're in class, they might be snickering at them trying to share their idea, or they're not sharing, homework ideas with them, or being open to their ideas or different things in that nature. So I believe being in a class and being isolated, say as the only one or the one or two black students in a class, it does make a difference. I'd say that the classes in high school that I've gotten my lowest grades in have been classes where I've been the only one. And I feel that's telling, because I think that in those classes more than the others, I can definitely tell stories about times that I felt out of place. And so I think there's a sense of displacement there too, of accomplishing and achieving highly.
I need to take a quick break. I want to come back. There's so much I still need to ask the both of you. Ava, I still need you to answer that question of what do you think is at play here when we see the brilliance in our young people and yet they're not being invited into those spaces. Hang on one second for me, please, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Every day, 47.9 million family caregivers perform labors of love by helping their parents and spouses. Family caregivers help their older loved ones with medications, medical care, meals, bathing, dressing, and much more. While they wouldn't have it any other way, they need some support. AARP has information and online communities to help support caregivers. Learn more at aarp.org/caregiving.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show, with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you are just joining us, I have 2 brilliant, and I do mean brilliant, young people on the line with me. Ava President and Christian Gaines, both are seniors, one at Cheltenham High School in Wyncote, that is Ava, who wrote a great essay discussing educational equity. And Christian is a senior at Newton North High School just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. He is rising into his final stage as a student at the Paul Robeson Institute for Positive Development by Concerned Black Men of Massachusetts, Incorporated. Christian is talking about the fact that he is in a community that's one of the richest ones in the state, and yet these disparities existed. If you are just joining us, you're missing a really good conversation. And if you are a black or brown parent with young people in school and you're wondering why your children are coming home and saying, I don't have any homework or there's nothing else to do, I want you to hear Christian and Ava as they talk to you about the lack of expectations, the expectation gap that is there. I am so sick and tired of talking to principals and teachers who say, well, we need to let him lay his head on the desk and go to sleep. They have very low expectations oftentimes of black and brown students. And Christian is right. They will groom them for basketball, football, whatever else, and not groom them for the other parts of their life, which is going on to college and gaining a brighter knowledge. It is also very well known that when children are given access to the honors and advanced the advanced placement courses, they do very well in college. My sons did it. College did not seem difficult for them until they got to their third year of college, right? But there was especially my youngest son had to literally advocate for him in a way that I had to bring an advocate in, because I was like, okay, you can't burn the school down, Andrea. You cannot burn the school down. So what we're going to do is have someone come in. I brought in my ex-husband, sat with Pamela Hart. She used to be a principal over at Cheltenham School District, and she laughed at the end of the meeting and said, you did not need me at all. Yep, but it's nice to have someone in the room. So parents, listen to me. Carry an advocate in the room with you. And if they tell you you cannot have an advocate in the room with you, tell them the meeting is over. Right? Because they stack up the tables and make sure that they have all their people sitting on one end, and then you're just sitting there and you don't know what you're talking about. And too often, very educated, very well-informed parents walk out of those IEP meetings, gifted IEP meetings, special education IEP meetings, or even just a general conversation with teachers going, what am I missing here? Because we like to talk circles around parents to make them feel like they're the crazy ones, right? So Ava and Christian, this conversation is really, really good. Ava, what is your response to the question that I asked around what do you think is at play here? You're very both aware that you're just as smart as anyone else, and yet you are in the minority when it comes to being in these advanced placement and honors classes. What do you think is at play here, Ava?
I would say a major factor would be the lack of just overall cultural proficiency that we have in teachers and the administration. They don't seem to understand their Black students, so they're not going to be able to connect with them and give them what they need if they can't understand them and connect with them in that way. And that also kind of creates a divide and a kind of us versus them situation, which I've seen in a lot of different classroom settings. And that also plays into the lack of Black role models that we have within my school, at least. There aren't a lot of Black teachers. There aren't a lot of positive or Black male role models for students. We have more Black female teachers than male teachers. So I think that abundance of white teachers, it creates a disconnect, and Black students aren't always able to feel comfortable going to a white teacher to talk to them, asking for help, being able to advocate for themselves. And then with that also creates just low expectations, like what Christian said. I think that's spot on. I think if teachers are not expecting anything from their Black students, they're not going to advocate for them to get into higher level classes. They're not going to provide them resources and support. And if the bar is set on the ground, there's no way to really change that unless you are the exception somehow. So
yes, and they make you, when they create the exception, they make you feel like you're this special person. That's why you can sit amongst them and take these classes. Let me ask you both this. It's. Can you tell that I've been doing this for decades? This is it's too much.
Yes.
And when I tell you I play no games, there are school districts in Pennsylvania that when they see my name, Christian and Ava, they immediately bring an education lawyer into the room. Wow. Now that's what I'm talking about, right? So I've been at this for a long time, know the laws very, very well as it applies to education. And oftentimes I don't even have to go into the schools with parents anymore. I tell them exactly what to ask for, how to get their point across. And if I show up to the meeting, then okay, well then let's dance, because we try to give you an opportunity to do the right things. And some folks just need, a little extra push. And so what advice now I'm asking you, because you're both getting ready to go off to college. You've both experienced, it's clear from talking to the both of you that you've experienced everything that I've seen and then some. What advice do you have for parents who may say, well, the teacher knows best, or, don't rustle their feathers. We're living in this good community and we're in a great school. And what advice do you have for those kinds of parents? Have you seen that happen, either one of you?
Yes, I'd say, first off, a great teacher is not always a just teacher. And teachers have their own biases and prejudices too. Just as everyone else does. And so just as doctors give not equitable treatment to Black patients as they do to white patients, as we see across America, the same thing happens with teaching. And so, just because, the high school graduation rate is high or that the community is well off, does not mean that everyone's getting the education they deserve and that's equitable. So I'd say to combat this, we do need to integrate Black students into higher level classes because, there's been research done that within these schools that are said to be integrated, there's still, it seems like there's two schools under one roof.
Yes.
And I definitely feel that in my school, where it's just two different tracks. You have kids going off to, this school and that school, and then my friends are just looking to get by. And so I'd say, on the one hand, it's better for bringing equality and empowerment to these young Black people, but also it benefits the white student in the class. If we have more diverse perspectives like Black students in classes with white peers, those white students are going to graduate more tolerant of others. They're going to be able to have a better perspective, or let's just say a more wide perspective of the world based on others' views, because they've heard their Black classmates in class share their opinions on different things. So there's a whole benefit to the entire community here by pushing for Black students to enroll in advanced classes just as much as white students do.
Did I lose them again? Are you both there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right. I wish this was a Zoom call so I could see your faces. I am so proud. The hair on the back of my neck is just standing up. You are the future leaders, and it's coming. And you said something that struck me when you says, my friends are just looking to get by, because it's a direct result of lack of great expectations of them, and being told that they would be great basketball players or football players, and not being told that they can become scientists, part of anything that works for them, creating really great things, being people who are Black people have been really at the forefront of creating technology, and just everything that's being ignored about us. We find out years after they have died, or somebody has to push it to the forefront, that it was someone, Black or brown, that really created this new thing that people are oohing and eyeing over.
Yeah.
We have to figure out a way to help those friends of ours. To get them on the same track, or at the very least, moving a little bit further along. Ava, talk to me about what advice do you have for Black parents who may think we're living in this great community, we're making great money, we should be, happy just to be here, and don't want to rustle the feathers of anyone. What advice do you have for those parents?
I would say absolutely rock the boat, and if you feel that your child is not getting the education that you're paying for in your tax money, you should absolutely be advocating on your child's behalf. And I think that it's easy to get kind of wrapped up in the theatrics of, what a school district might do, and they're touting diversity and all of these great things, but behind the scenes, the individuals that are creating that diversity are not getting what they need to actually succeed in the school. So I think that, to not get caught up in all the smoke and mirrors, and to really make sure that you know what your child is doing, and to absolutely, critically think about what's happening, and not just kind of accept it because you feel like that's the way it should be. So definitely not just taking it, and just, advocating, definitely advocating.
Ooh, wait. Oh my gosh! I wish I could talk to the both of you forever. What is next for the both of you? What are your 5-year, 10-year, 20-year goals now? Dream from, they call me mother on this air. Dream for mother. What are your immediate goals? Your 5-year goals? Your 10-year goals? Tell me quickly.
My immediate goals are just continuing to I'd say that I do my work for 3 reasons. For me, it's fulfilling, meaningful to step forward and raise my voice. 2, I love contributing to the community. And 3, I think most powerful to me is inspiring others. I love seeing young Black people, especially, or young Latino people, feel inspired or just see themselves in me and want to step up, because that has happened, all over my life, from seeing folks like President Barack Obama in the newspaper, or seeing family members getting recognized for different awards or things as such. That's very meaningful to me. So I hopefully continue to inspire more kids to keep on reaching high as far as they can go with whatever it is, but especially making sure that they're testing themselves as much as possible with their academics.
Right.
In 5 years, I hope to be in probably law school and doing an internship somewhere, maybe up on Capitol Hill, looking to make some widespread political change to help youth across the nation.
There is a woman in Boston, powerful Black woman, that I'm going to connect you with when you are ready. Okay?
All right. Yes.
So that could open some of those doors for you to get you where you need to be. I am all about how can we connect the dots to help our young children move forward, and it really, mentorship means a lot as you continue. You're going to have some dark days, you're going to feel discouraged, and so having a good mentor or a good set of mentors in your field of expertise that you want to do is a great thing. Zen Motley said, I played football, basketball, track, and tennis. That don't stop you from learning. You're absolutely right, Zen, but there are lots of teachers who want to put you in one or the other. So that's what we're talking about today. All right, Ava, your immediate goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals.
My immediate goals are definitely to just see my initiative through. And once I graduate, I want to, ensure that it's going to be sustainable and that, it'll keep going on without me. And that I have, like Christian said, a next generation of kids who are eager to, continue this work. And then definitely college is on my frontier right now, and just getting into a school is my next big goal. So I'm excited for that. And then further down the line, definitely I'm preparing myself to go to medical school. So I'm really excited about that. I definitely want to be a part of the much needed change in the healthcare system, especially when it comes to women's health and Black women's health, particularly. So I'm going to kind of shift from the educational setting into the healthcare system, but I'm definitely really excited for that too. So that's my more long-term goals, but definitely excited, and
it's a great goal to have.
Really,
do you know what specialty you want to do in medicine yet?
I don't know right now, but definitely I'm interested in women's health. Obstetrics and gynecology is definitely on my mind, particularly just in terms of Black women's health, because we are so underrepresented in the healthcare system in terms of physicians. The care that Black women receive, that's a whole other conversation, but it's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed by more female physicians in the field.
So let me encourage you. I have a 22-year-old niece, my sister's daughter, who was in the obstetrics and gynecology. I'm in medical school right now. And my nephew David just graduated and became a doctor. He's 24. He'll be 25. It was hard, right? But it's nice to know that, and he went into orthopedic. So he wants to be an orthopedic surgeon. So they're working hard now, both of them. But you're absolutely right. We need to see more young people stepping in the gap and doing this work. And so Ava, President, and Christian Gaines, on behalf of those of us at WURD Radio, you have them talking a mile a minute on the Facebook page. They're so impressed with the both of you. I wish you everything that is good. And I am looking forward to hearing from the both of you years down the road, 5 years, 10 years. You will find that your goals may shift, but your mission will not. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So when COVID is over, or if we can get on a Zoom call, I would love to talk to the both of you face to face, because you are the leaders that we're looking for to creating the tangible changes, and you're the ones that we must protect, right? The ones that are going to hold over the umbrella over the ones who are not able to speak up for themselves are the ones we really, truly have to protect. So you have a good holiday, both of you, and I look forward to hearing from either one of you soon, okay?
You do the same now. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Been a pleasure. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. That was so good. I could talk to the young people all day, every day. They give me such joy, right, of what is possible. And I was saying this a few days ago. I said, we're talking about how bad things are in the school districts, in the urban areas, in Philadelphia, blah, 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 blah. Oh, in the suburbs, it's a whole other story. No matter how much money you're making and what you're doing, we have to fight even harder, right? Because in the suburbs, you can get lost. You heard them talking about all of this, right? That their friends are, the lack of expectations, their friends are just, some of the friends are just trying to get by, or they're being told they shouldn't be in the honors classes, or if they get into the honors classes, they're marginalized in such ways. And so this was a really, really good conversation. Ava, President, and Christian Gaines, thank you both so, so much. Your families are blessed to call you sons and daughter. You are listening to The Source. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Hi, this is Jeff Brown from Brown's Family ShopRites and Fresh Grocers. Are you thinking about a part-time job to help out with the cost of the holidays? We have plenty of openings. You can apply online at shoprite.com/careers or freshgrocer.com/careers. Come join the Brown family today and help us serve the people of Philadelphia. Have a great holiday.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio, streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source, and praise God for these tea bags that I have around here. I have something called a throat cold, and I drink them without sugar when I get on the air so that my voice works. Gary from Southwest, are you there? Gary?
Yes. You hear me?
How are you, sir? What's going on?
Hey, first of all, Andrea, I just wanted to say I want to thank you so much for what you do for our people in our community. I mean, I don't know how to express that anymore, to say that we love you and we love what you do for us. So I just want to thank you for that. Those 2 young people you had on were awesome. A lot of times in our community, we focus on the negative that's happening too much, and a lot of our young people are doing great things, and we need to acknowledge that more often. So I thank you for having those young people on and having that interview.
Yeah,
also, I wanted to say, enjoy your vacation next week. You deserve it.
Thank you.
Enjoy your vacation, you know, your time off with you and your husband and family. Just enjoy that. And, you know, we'll look forward to hearing you later on or speaking with you. But, again, I just want to thank you. We have a lot of people that look like us that are in positions that can really do more to help our people. And, Andrea, they're not really doing it. So I want to commend you. You know, just because you have a position and you look like us doesn't mean that you're doing a lot for us. And there's a lot of people out there, they know who they are. And we have to hold them accountable. And as you expressed earlier, we need our young people or older people who are really committed to us to be running for office and be in those positions. I'm tired of people with the titles and aren't really addressing our needs. So I just want to thank you again, and I'm going to sign off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you all. Oh, thank you so much. All right. So listen, guys, I see Tyrone is on. Do me a favor, Tyrone and Maurice, can you all call me back in about 5 minutes? Give me until about 2:56 to call me back, and then I'll get you in and talk to you. So happy to see Tyrone's. Or hold on. You can hold on. But let me just get Deborah Keys right out because we don't have a whole lot of time here. As the founder and National Board Governance and Education Equity Consultant for the Right Keys to Consulting LLC, Deborah uses her highly sought after skills to provide customized, well-developed leadership skills through training for board superintendent teams, deliver effective board governance best practices, creates thought-provoking, laser-focused board retreats that addresses board conflict and culture, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Deborah, good afternoon.
Hey there, Andrea, and I won't even take long because those students were brilliant.
Woo! Wasn't that amazing?
and you know, Andrea, they covered everything that I have been talking about at the governance level, making sure that all of these things that are happening at the building level, the superintendent needs to know about this and the school board because they set the culture of that district. And so why are these things allowed to continue to happen? So, of course, they need to be dismantled. And those scholars were spot on. I love it when Ava said, rock the boat.
Come on. I started to sing.
Rock it, and I feel like a proud parent. I feel so proud of them, and they know their why. They know why they're doing it, and so of course their purpose will be so much more impactful. But these are brilliant scholars.
Yes,
brilliant.
And they're all over the place. They're everywhere. This is not an anomaly. That's the thing that bugs me, right? They would like to segment our brilliant black children and put them in little corners somewhere and say, well, we can only do with one of you over here and one of you over here. No, we come in large numbers.
But you know what, too, Andrea, even though from the conversation on Tuesday when it got a little lit, which was good conversation. Yes. But we're not brushing. We're using the same brush stroke for everyone. Even though there are schools that are failing, it does not mean that children are failing. Okay, these are the adults who are failing the children. The children are still excelling to the best of their ability. Do we have to help others out? Absolutely. And that's where you have to make sure you have policies and practices in place that will not perpetuate the inequities that are happening all across all across the country in these school systems. But our children are brilliant.
Yes,
they take an opportunity to share their brilliance and don't allow the oppressors, who are the adults, to siphon that for those children. But, there are many more Avas and Christians, and we just have to keep lifting them up. And we're going to hear more about them, absolutely. So, I want to say, like what Gary said, I want to thank you for your platform, Andrea. I so am honored that you allow me to just share my little nuggets of wisdom to help anyone out at the governance level so that everyone has a responsibility in educating our children. And you, like I've always told you, you are my hero. I look up to you, and you are as genuine as the day I met you, and you have so excelled, and I'm just so glad I know you, because if you're successful, I am too. So I'm right there with you. So I appreciate you so much, and you get some rest, okay?
I will. I want to thank you for jumping in. You know, when I was asked to run this radio show and asked what my platform would be, without blinking, I said education, health and wellness, and y'all can keep the politics. But, you know, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And so, you know, when I reached out to you and I said, listen, we can talk about school boards all we want to, but we need folks to get on here to discuss what good board governance looks like.
Yeah.
You started out, it was just you and I, and then you started bringing in people from around the country. I could not have done that without you. You were looking for the right folks to talk about diversion and inclusion and equity. And if you will continue, please, Deborah, I'd love to do that. Into 2021, there's a livelihood segment that I do around diversity and inclusion and equity. I'd like you to be the voice of that, and then you can bring on the different strong voices like you've been doing all year long. So thank you. Thank you. Oh, honey, thank you. From one black woman to the next. You don't even live near me. I just want to say thank you.
I always wish I was your neighbor. I wish, but I feel I know I have access to you, so yes, you do. That satisfies me.
Yes, ma'am. So let's work on our subject matter for 2021, we will get it going. Thank you so much, Deborah Keys Wright. Thank you
tell
so
Mr. I said hello. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but I think I know him just because I know you.
He barely alive these days because I'm over here going, I'm tired of looking at your face.
And I'm waiting for that book. Where's the book?
Oh, you know, the book is done. It's so done. I keep adding stories because my husband is a plethora of stories. It's called Mr. and Me, so I can't wait.
Okay.
I cannot wait. So we'll talk soon. God bless, okay?
Take care.
All right, honey. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. I think you better call Tyrone. Call him. Where have you been, my honey bunny?
Well, Mother, you know I was in a car accident.
How was I supposed to know? What if because I said I haven't heard from Tyrone in a couple of days. What's going on in these Wakanda streets?
Man, this U-Haul truck had pinned me up on 76 and and you know, God in all His glory, you know, allowed us to, me and my daughter, to, you know, we're going through some changes, but thank God we're going through changes and still here.
And you're still here. You know, Tyrone, I asked for you. I asked for you, so I am so sorry to hear that you were in a car accident, but this is how a village works, right? I hadn't heard from you in a while, and I said, where's Tyrone? And then you popped up. But let me say this to you, to all of you WURD listeners that call in consistently. Miss Mary is now writing a book, so she's doing her thing. And, you know, I say this all the time. We don't always agree, but we're always respectful. And so, my brother, I am so glad you called in. Even though you're in a space now from being in a bad car accident, I wanted to say to you, thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your encouragement. You, Gary, and all of you, just all of you. And I wanted to say that because this is my last week on the air until 2021. Mother is taking a week off so I can get some rest. And I didn't want y'all to think that I forgot about you. But, you know, I want you to take care of yourself so I can talk to you in 2021, okay?
And, Mother, that's the reason why I'm calling. I really wanted to say God has truly blessed us with your presence, with your intelligence, and with the folks that you reach out to and bring to us. But, Mother, once again, you have brought the queen to the top. Once again, we still rise because what our young folks are going through, it is truly amazing to see those who are making it through. And that's why I said earlier, our young folks really need to put down on paper, especially if they got young folks in their, young children. Write stories to them. Let them know how they're living and what they're going through, because they are really going through some trying and challenging times. And when we see the ones who are able to, come out on top, they need to write this down. They need to share it because those babies are definitely going to need a bridge to get them, over, and definitely going to need the love that you share when you write and put down on paper. That's like love. They're going to need that love to get through all that they're living through. So, Mother, I just wanted to say the very, very best for the holiday for you. Happy Kwanzaa. And I know without question that 2021, we're going to come through this in flying colors.
Oh, yes. If I got anything to say about it, Tyrone, I'm leading the way for my people. You understand? So you get some rest, all right?
Yes,
and we'll talk soon,
yes.
okay?
Okay, and thank you for always allowing me to share. And
Yes.
I love you.
Love you too, Tyrone. Give your wife my best. All right.
Yes,
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. I know I have Maurice on and a couple of other people. Just hang on for me 1 second. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, okay? Let me see what Michael is telling me. Yes, Michael, I got it. Want to buy black for the holidays? We have got you covered. WURD Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Tune in this Saturday at 3 p.m. for the Friends of Farrakhan show, understanding the ultimate truth of the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God.
Solutions on Word. Hosted by Dwayne Royster and Amadi Braxton. Solutions on Word. Exploring solutions to national, state, and local issues through the lens of race and gender. Solutions on Word. Fridays 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Solutions is sponsored by Power Interfaith Movement, working towards life, liberty, and democracy for all. The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before we move into our segment, Life Across the Diaspora, let me take a couple of these calls. Maurice, darling, how are you?
I'm so happy that Tyrone is all right. We can't afford to lose another one of the URD family.
I know.
You know, when I heard he ain't calling in a while, I was like, no, not another one. I can't handle it.
No, I know. I was like, somebody find Tyrone quickly.
Well, look, this is what I found out. Those students that you were talking to, were they from Philadelphia?
One lives in Cheltenham, and the other one lives in Massachusetts.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, when I went to Barton Motivation 42 years ago, we had young youth like that talked in that way. Matter of fact, when the first day of orientation, that was 4 years before then, when I went to, we had a small setting. Class was no bigger than 20 people, and our teacher used to tell us, if one person fails in this class, we all fail. So we became a family where if somebody was having trouble, we made our own tutoring sessions. The teachers didn't plan it. We did it for ourselves because we had a goal that we're never going to leave a man behind or female behind.
Yes.
You know? We became, and when we had our high school reunion 2 years ago was our 40-year anniversary, whoever was still alive was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the still same family attitude.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And you know when these, but the thing is, we had teachers that looked like us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we had teachers that we cared about, and we knew that teachers loved us. See, this is what I think is missing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that love. We had a policeman that would come in and walk through, and it wasn't like, oh, there's the police. It was, oh, there's Mr. Policeman Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we hugged him, and he was a white officer.
Mm-hmm.
And we was glad to see him.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Maurice, my husband says he went to Bartram Motivation School, too.
Oh, yeah? Did you know when he went?
I think around the same time you went, but we can't talk about that now because I
understand I got to get off the line, but what I'm saying is, you know, back then it was a special experience, and I want you to try to have somebody from Bartram and somebody from Overbrook on, and they have honor students too. And
yes, they do.
I would just love to hear their experiences so we know what the youth is doing and find out what really is going on in the streets. Now, I want to tell you, enjoy your vacation.
Thank you, honey.
You, Mother. And
love you too.
I'm so glad that Tyrone's all right. I can have a nice holiday now.
Yes. All right. So talk to you soon, man. See you on the other side. All right. Bye-bye. Ann, are you up there?
Yes.
Hi,
hello,
Ann. How are you?
And have a safe and happy and prosperous New Year to you and your family, because it takes your family to support you for the things that you do for the rest of us. Now, my question is, the two young men that came on the other day, one had just got out of foster care. I wanted, because I was going to ask you something for my grandson. And when he mentioned the school that was so helpful to him, I could not get that information. I would like to have that information.
Okay, so hang on. Go back to Michael, and he will give you my email address, and I will send the name of the school to you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome, my sister. Take it easy. All right. Let's see. Prince. Prince.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you? What's going on?
We're awesome. I just wanted to, say thank you for the opportunity.
Y'all gonna make me cry today.
No, I just think that we who call the station as an option. We're not forced to call the station. We don't have to call the station. And at some point in time, we didn't call the station. And when you had come into the station, it was just an opportunity to just tell you what we see as boots on the ground. It wasn't necessarily a necessity to criticize. It was in a process where we're losing so much with people who are in positions who look so much like us. It was just a thinning period. From 1 to 4, it's more of a thinning period. When we don't disrespect politicians in public, we don't call them names. We're just saying that we're suffering the brunt of this abuse and this burden out here, and you have to give us some relief. And so, from 1 to 4, we do that. And in honor of you, when you take your 2 weeks off, me and my squad won't be calling the station at all until you come back. Aww. And so we're not in a financial situation where we need to. We're in a better situation where we want to, because we think that this is a powerful voice and it could be better utilized. And we have some different egos. I guess that's what makes people who they are. But at the end of the day, if all of us are suffering, then we all need to come together and find a way to undo that suffering.
I feel like you're talking in parables, and you need to call me. Now, remember, mother is smart, so something's going on here. I am off for a week. I took off next week. I'll be back. But let me just say this. I love you all. Thank you so much. You have made this a good year for me, right? I walked into this radio station, knowing that I wanted to do certain things. I also walked into this radio station knowing that I had a powerful voice that may rub some the wrong way. But at the end of the day, for me, it was about making sure that I was elevating and listening to our people, right? That this station That is our role. That we're here. It's a Black Talk media, and so therefore we have to be the open space and voices for all of you. Again, you know, there are times when you called or Tyrone called or other people called, and I was like, and Lord George, and I would disagree, but I disagreed with you all in love. You understand what I'm saying? And I was always respectful to you all as we talked about it. So continue to call into the radio station. Don't not call because I'm not here. I'm only going to be gone for a week. I'm going to miss all of you, but I have to rest my voice. Okay?
Yeah, you know, it's been great, and trust me, you know, sometimes we need to have our fights and agree to disagree, and we need to have our moments because, you know, we hopefully and prayerfully we see each other in the next year.
Yes.
It'd be such a sad commentary if 21 came in and one of the many people who call you, we were short one. And I'm going to hang up and I'm going to listen to you and have a tremendous New Year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Prince. Lord have mercy. So I have Neamal and Anita Thompson on. Hold them for me, please. Michael, let me take a couple more of these quick calls so I can get our brother Spread Love. I know you've been waiting for a while. How are you, sir? Brother Spread Love, did you leave me? Oh, for the love of Jesus. George, and now George, be nice to mother.
I'm going to be very nice. I'm going to be very nice today because it's the day before everybody get what they're going to get, you know, which I hope is something good. But, you know, I'm going to give all of them, I'm going to give people, the listening audience, I'm going to give them a very good Christmas present, those who want to believe in Christmas. You know, one state senator and the one state representative who took care of their district very well, that is black, they got just as much as the other people, white folks, or just as much as anybody else. That was Sharif Street. His Germantown office got like 105 or 106 people that they took care of. Now, if they could do that, why couldn't the rest of them do that? Teresa Miller took care like, I think it was like 89, and then she had like some other people come back. I don't know the exact number, but I know it was 89 for a fact that she took care. Now, if those two can do that, and I know for a fact that they did it because seniors are talking about it, you know, some people who owed some rent, and like Prince said, a lot of the people are subsidized, but they needed that piece of paper. So if those two offices can fill out the paper, why couldn't the rest of them fill it out? You know why? They want to lie to us. They want to bamboozle, play games, because they so busy on Zoom and home, and they forgetting that they have a job. That's what it is. You know, so when people want to know who was the two, that's who the two were. You know, they didn't want me to say,
Miller. Okay.
They didn't want me to say anything about it, but I think I owed it to the public to let them know these two here are working, so you can stop saying, "Oh, he always dogging black people out." No, I'm dogging those out who don't want to do their job. Anytime
George,
all the other counties and everything can get theirs done, and you mean to tell me the few, especially Hollywood, he's on appropriations, he's a state senator, and he come on the radio and say, "I ain't know nothing about it." I mean, how stupid can you be?
All right, so George, I want to end the day just as beautiful. Tell Mother you love her and go enjoy your holiday.
You know I love you and always will love you, trust you, and I'm glad you're on the air, and I wish you had more time. And, you know, they need to change your slot to one of those, what they call prime times. You have prime time because people all over the country listen to you, especially in Atlanta, you know, and I thank a certain phone company for that, you know. If we need more, what they don't understand is not that many black radio stations in the country. And, you know, they should stop using up valuable airtime with foolishness, talking stupid. You know, everybody want to go to the Internet or they want to go to all this social media stuff. If you want to get in trouble, just deal with social media, and you'll find out it ain't all what you think. And with that, have a very good Christmas and a holidays. And if you decide to shorten your vacation, you're more than welcome to come back.
All right, George. Love you. Be good, all right?
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, I'm going to take one more call, and then I'm going to go to Neamal. Neamal and Anita, I am not going to push you off. I'm going to push you into – we'll talk as long as we need to. Jean, Chester, line 1. Jean, are you there?
Yes. Hi. Good afternoon, Andrew. I just wanted to call to just say thank you for being such a wonderful human being. Thank you for loving your people. Thank you for educating your people. Thank you for having compassion for your people. Thank you for listening to every caller, respecting every caller. We just can't thank you enough for your integrity, your transparency, your truthfulness, and your utmost desire to have your people educated from all aspects of life. And I just wanted to say also, have a very good holiday. I'll listen to you, and I'll watch you when you return. Happy holidays to you and your family. Enjoy yourself. Get the much-needed rest. Have good holidays to all of our listeners and viewers on YouTube for WURD. And I also wanted to say one last thing. As far as for Prince, don't stop calling. We gain so much knowledge from not only the host and the guests, but the callers.
Yes.
We need that. We need that. We are becoming so educated through all of you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And you are awesome, though. Sis, you are awesome.
Thank you.
You are awesome. Enjoy.
Have a good. All right, my sister. Have a good holiday.
And
they try. All right, bye-bye. They trying to make me cry in these Wakanda the streets. I'm not doing it. I had this whole little thing. I wrote out about how much I love you all, and y'all are calling me and making me cry, but in a good way. I love you all, too, and I thank you for hearing as we were, doing what we needed to do all year long. It feels nice to be acknowledged for the work that you do, especially as hard as we work. My husband looks at me sometimes and says, hey, your radio show is 3 hours. You're in the office from what time in the morning? But it was very important to make sure that I was giving you all what you needed to get, and make sure that I was giving you the right information, and make sure that I was feeding you the right information that would help you, not just something you can just blow off and do something else with, right? I don't do a whole lot of national news here. I really focus a lot on what's happening with you all locally, so that we can dissect and move people into places of helping themselves and finding solutions. Neamal Tutdial and Anita Thompson. Neamal Tutdial was born in Gambella, Ethiopia, and resettled with her family to the United States. She received a Master's of Arts in International Peace and Conflict Resolution with a concentration on non-governmental organization management and social entrepreneurship from Arcadia University. On with Neamal is Onita Thompson. Anita Thompson and her family was on The Source some months ago. In fact, they were trying to get media coverage for what was going on with them. They came on The Source, and then after that, regular media just started picking it up. They're the family that lived in the church on Germantown, the Jamaican family, and was facing deportation. They were living a wonderful life, paying their taxes and living in New Jersey in a home, and they ended up having to leave their home and go into a church for sanctuary. This past week, Anita Thompson and her family the immigration officials dropped the deportation case against them, and so now we have them both on the line. Anita and Neamal, how are you?
I am fabulous. And for Anita's news, in the African tradition, when we celebrate, we go,
Yes! Onita, let me just tell you. So first of all, welcome back to The Source. I love this, right? Let me just tell you how excited. People were calling me, Andrea, did you see that? They're getting out of the church. Andrea, oh my God, they're covering them now. Andrea, oh my God. So tell me what has been going on, sister.
Oh my gosh. It's a Christmas miracle. We are so excited. We're free.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Anita, are you back at your home now?
No, we're still doing some little changing up and stuff like that, but soon.
Yes. I talked to you. Your son resonated with me so much, right? You could sense that he was so worried about what was going on with you all. And I sensed that you were so concerned about your husband, because men like to be able to provide for their families and do what they needed to do. So to go from taking care of his family and making sure that you all were paying mortgage and paying your taxes and everything else, to having to hide in a church because you were facing deportation, even though you didn't do anything wrong, had to have taken a toll, right? And so, my God, when did you hear from immigration that you were they had removed the deportation case.
Okay, so it was like a little follow-up of hint that I was getting was like my lawyer had her name is Avalon Paul. He doesn't mind me calling her name on here. And she is from, I think, Trinidad and Tobago too, and she works at Spar and Bernstein in New York. And she filed my joint motion with the OPLA, meaning the principal attorney in New York, in Newark. And she said to me, okay, the principal attorney said, I want you and your husband to write in your own words 2 affidavits to tell them why, they should join a motion. And me and my husband looked at each other and said, okay, let's write all the reason why we think we need to stay in the United States. And, we went from, it was a 5-page each letter that we wrote, explaining to them, me as a nurse assistant that take care of people every day. My husband, works every machinery. My daughter, one of my daughters is a registered nurse, right here in Philadelphia that take care of, the folks who are sick. And, my son, works so hard in the restaurant, UPS, and now, he's going to Ivy League College, Columbia University, and, just work hard. We didn't get financial aid, and just tell him that my oldest daughter, worked with the VA right there in Washington, with the people who went and fought in the war and came back. She worked with them, and, my 2 other children are doing good in school, and I'm just telling them, like, my youngest son has asthma, and even as this pandemic come in, he cannot, even go out and, different things and go to school. He has to do virtual and, and everything else. And I think that letter, with the help of Senator Casey, Senator Booker, and Dwight Evans, and all the other people, send 200 letters, Wow, I mean, a lot of help, and, the New Sanctuary Movement of Philadelphia, and just many folks that wrote letters. Little children draw pictures and send it to the ICE officers just to say, families belong together. And with a whole combination of this thing and that final 5-page letter, they decided on December 10th, I have the letter with me saying that they join in the motion to reopen our case and terminate the deportation.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Onita, I run a thing right now every Thursday at 3 o'clock. We run a segment called Life Across the Diaspora. It is very important to me as an immigrant that we stop pitting ourselves against each other as immigrants and people that are born and raised in the United States. And just really talking to each other. And so Neamal has been very instrumental in all of that. I am so happy for your family. And Neamal and I thought that this would be a great way to end the year, to talk about some good news. So Neamal, talk to me, honey. This was excellent, wasn't it?
Listen, we have been knocked down throughout the year with all the policies that came out from the international students being blocked from DACA and all of these things. So for me, when I heard the story that's in Germantown, because I don't live that far away from Germantown, like this was close to home. Like, we got a win. We got a good Christmas win. And as much as we're dealing with everything else, it's good that we celebrate our small wins, but yet continue the fight. And also, as I'm keeping updates on what's going on nationally, and I was sharing with you that in terms of immigration, we've been really working hard. Organizations like PIC, New Sanctuary Movement, all these other organizations, making sure that immigrants, essential workers are recognized because they are the ones still out here, right? Like Anita just said, one of her children is out here as a nurse, really out here. One of the countries that actually honor fast-track citizenship is France. France said for any immigrant that is working in the front line, we're giving you acceleration to fast citizenship. And so when I was reading this article, I'm like, why can't the U.S. do that, right? So again, there's that conversation of, as brown people, as black people, we're still being used, but yet our humanity is not recognized, where people like Anita and her family have to hide out so that they are not separated. And we're talking about family separation. Last year, remember when I went home, it was the first time in 27 years that I saw my grandfather. I left him when I was 7 years old, and then I went back as a 34-year-old woman. So imagine all of this family separation during holidays, and I think all of us can feel that right now during this coronavirus, what it means to be an immigrant, what it means to be away from your family because of distance, because of policies, because they're man-made, right? And so I hope that in this time that we're finding new traditions, we're finding new ways of celebrating holidays, that we can really also put into perspective what it feels like for immigrants, right? And I know that there's some rhetorics out there. There's people that are pitting us against each other, but at the same time, it's like people would not be fleeing their countries if it wasn't for safety.
Right.
Mothers would not be sending their children if it wasn't for them saying that, I would rather send them to hope that I don't even know than for them to die in front of me.
Right.
So we have to ask ourselves those questions. What is it? So in terms of the administration that's leaving, because I came through the refugee program, this year, this administration that's leaving, they actually set the refugee admission to 15,000 refugees that could enter into this country. And so the next administration is actually going to be working to undo a lot of policies that are doing a lot of that blockage, and they have promised that they're going to up the refugee admission to 195,000 refugees, because normally we were resettling 95,000 refugees annually. At least that's what the number is said. Often maybe 80,000 or 70,000 would come in, but normally annually the cap is set at 95. But when the current administration came in, they capped that to 45,000, and then last year they capped it to 15, and it's the lowest it's ever been since 1980. Wow. So again, there are a lot of policies that are out here that it's gonna take the 4 years, right? And also even after that, how do we really undo these policies? Because a lot of policies have harmful policies towards immigrants, towards everybody.
Yeah.
Not just immigrants.
I know. I need you guys to hold on for me. Don't hang up, because I have some other questions for you, okay? Hold on one second, all right? You are listening to The Source. There are some high winds outside, and so I'm hearing from some WURD listeners that the sound is a little bit off, but the winds are picking up outside, so just bear with us for a minute, okay? 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
JD's Auto Body and Painting is hiring talent for the following positions. Assembler, preferably 2 to 3 years experience, able to tear down and reassemble all make and model cars. Painter, must have at least 5 years overall painting experience, including experience in water-based paint and able to prep cars for paint jobs. Auto Body Technician, looking for an A or B technician, must have at least 5 years experience repairing cars. Please send your resume to JD's Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net. That's JDS Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net, or call 215-848-5949 for more details. JD's Auto Body and Painting is an equal opportunity employer.
Tune in Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power, hosted by Mark Palmer.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
At Champion Dentistry, we want to make sure your smile is as healthy as it is beautiful. Whether you're calling for a routine checkup, calling about a newly developed toothache, or interested in learning about cosmetic dentistry options. Our services include routine checkups, cosmetic dentistry, gum care, laser dentistry, and more. Champion Dentistry is in the Overbrook Farm section of the city, easily reachable by public transportation. Call 215-473-4717 to schedule an appointment today or visit championdentistry.org, the House of Smiles.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, we're moving from Life Across the Diaspora with Niamal Tutsdial and Onita Thompson into exploring the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote. I still have Niamal and Onita on the line with me. That segment is brought to you by Comcast NBC Universal. And so both of you, are you still there?
Yeah, we are here.
Let me ask you this, Onita. Based on what you have had experienced with having to be in sanctuary in the church, when you gain citizenship of this country, what is the first thing you're going to do?
Oh my gosh, I can't even wrap my head around that yet. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around it right now. But that's a question that I don't know. I know what I'm going to do is just probably, just let the whole world know that.
Yes.
But I'm going to be very happy about, gaining citizenship on, in the best country on earth, the one that give us a chance to have a good life. I want to clarify something from earlier, is that we did have to leave the church in Germantown, and we had been living at Tabernacle United Church, 3700 Chestnut Street, and that's where.
Oh, okay. That's when I spoke to you.
Pardon me?
That's when I spoke to you when you were at Tabernacle.
Yes, Tabernacle United.
Yeah. So, will you be in your back with your family before the end of the year?
We will.
So excited for you. I want to thank you. I want to wish you and your family everything good. Despite all the challenges that you've had, Ms. Thompson, just know that there are lessons embedded in it, right? You're going to become an amazing advocate for families who are still in limbo in the system, right? You've given them hope. Watching you has given them hope. And that, things don't always stay bad forever and a day. I'm so proud of you, so proud that we got to talk to you here at WURD Radio. I want you to stay in touch with us. Let us know as things go on. Is your son still at Columbia?
Yes, he's still at Columbia.
Oh, listen. I'm sure he's over the moon now, around all of this. So I just want to say thank you. That, you kept the faith. You've taught us what real, true faith is, madame. And I wish you nothing but the best for you and your family, okay?
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for having me. I just want to say Merry Christmas and enjoy your vacation off. And I want to just say to all the immigrants out there, ones that are in sanctuary and even behind the walls of, like a jail or prison or so, hope is here. We're going to be the eyes and ears for you guys. And I know we give you hope to know that, good things happen in Philadelphia and also the spirit of Christmas. And we wish you a happy, happy Christmas and hope.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Onita. Niamal, you ready for 2021? We're going to keep doing this Life Across the Diaspora. It's very important.
Listen, Auntie, we have no choice but to unite. We have no choice but to know each other's stories, right? And I think 2021 is also how do we get WURD Radio into immigrant communities, right, so that they can also hear the stories of their fellow Africans that have been in this continent for 400 years. because it's the only way that we're going to learn about each other is actually having these family conversations. We've been having these family conversations on an app called Clubhouse. The whole of this week has been Africans do not understand, the legacy of slavery and, and all of these, divisive rhetoric that the whitewash history books have pinned against us. But we truly haven't sat together and said, teach me what you've gone through, and I will also teach you what I have learned from my elders as to what happened during slavery, right? So that we could really unite, because if we don't do that, if we don't have that healing conversation, then they're always going to pin us against each other. And if we don't unite as a Black people globally, then that's it. We're always just going to be scattered. And so for me, in having these intentional conversations with my family, I want to be that last generation that's going to say, oh, no, she African. Oh, no, she African-American, right? Because I don't want my kids to come and be able to do that. I want my children to see any Black person and be like, that's my people. That's my person.
That is right. I love it. I love it. I wish you everything good. I'll talk to you. I am going to, while I am off, get on Clubhouse. I was invited to Clubhouse. I got on there and I was like, there's 1,000 conversations going on. I'm learning how to use it. And so I just want to thank you for being a willing participant in these conversations with me, okay? Miss Anita and Nirmal, thank you both so much. Happy holidays to the both of you, okay?
Happy holidays.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ooh, wow. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe the show is almost over. I can't believe it. We've just, Michael, it was another hot show, honey. Let's see. Stephen from North Philly. Stephen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for holding one.
Oh, that's all right. I listen to you every day that you're on, and I really enjoy it. I must say that you remind me so much of my late mother. and your enthusiasm, and she was the type of person that she didn't take anything, and she fought, for her children. And I just want to give you kudos and tell you to keep on keeping on. And I'll be 80 years older than you, so I didn't get here yesterday. But what I had called you for when I was listening to you today, you gave out an 800 number for medical malpractice if you have problems, and I only got the 800 part.
Okay, because that's all I got. So what I'm going to do is I'll Google it and send it to Michael. Let me see, medical, because it's really just a simple. But let me see, malpractice. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
Number, because I just want to make sure. Let's see. Let me see if I can find one for you here. So get back on the phone with Michael, and he is going to give you my email address. When I find that 1-800 number, I'm going to reach out to the woman on Facebook that wrote it and get it for her, and then I'll send it to you. Okay?
Oh, thank you so very much. And you keep on keeping on, and a very, very prosperous new year, and have a happy holiday.
Yeah, same to you, sir. Thank you for listening, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Oh, all right. I am so full. I am so full. Oh, my God. I'm opening this stuff that I'm so full. The Battle for the Ballot. Washington Post, Democracy Dies in Darkness, written by Monica Hess. This was written in August, but she says the women's suffrage was a giant leap for democracy, and we haven't stuck the landing yet. The House delayed the vote as long as it could. The year was 1921, and the U.S. Senate had already passed the Shepard-Towner Act, which provided funding for programs helping new mothers and babies. A few key congressmen, though, thought the bill contained too much social welfare and too much feminism. If the members of Congress could have voted on the measure in their cloakrooms, it would have been killed, emphatically, one senator later told Ladies' Home Journal. But whether or not House leadership was ready for feminism, feminism had come barging in the door. The year before, the 19th Amendment had given women the right to vote. Politicians worried about what this new constituent bloc might do and rushed to show that they supported women's issue. Shepard-Towner passed emphatically. The House vote was a landslide, 279 to 39. Women's suffrage is sometimes portrayed as the triumphant end of a movement, the hard-won reward for decades of marches, protests, hunger strikes, feeding tubes. Really, it was just the beginning. One of many times America has transformed itself to make government more accountable to more of its citizens, at least in theory. On the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, we could think about a life a full century ago, but we could also think about life 99 years ago, when the country first started to realize how much power voting women now had and how they might choose to wield it. We could think about what the amendment changed and what it didn't. After the ratification of the 19th Amendment, more women began seeking out public office, particularly at the local level. When, in November of 1920, one Oregon town replaced its entire town council with women, the New York Times headlined it, "Sex Uprising in Yoncalla," a thought experiment for women today. Pick a date, maybe August 18th, the official day of ratification, and pause every time you do something you probably couldn't do if the 19th Amendment did not exist. A lot of us wouldn't make it to our desks at work. Some of us wouldn't make it past the breakfast table. We would be felled by our morning pill routine. In a world without the 19th Amendment, one assumes that Comstock laws would still consider male-delivered birth control obscene. The negative reverberations of the 19th Amendment are easy to identify too. It didn't help everyone. In the hopes of gaining Southern sympathy for their cause, many white suffragists had made a devil's bargain. They diminished the contribution of black suffragists or insisted that black women's unique disenfranchisement was a race issue and not a gender issue, and therefore not under suffragists' purview. Historian Liette Gidlow opens her study, Resistance After Ratification, with the story of a black woman named Susie Fontaine, who went to her local polling place to register 2 months after the 19th was ratified. Fontaine, who had a college education, was told she hadn't passed the literacy test. The confetti from the 19th Amendment celebrations had barely settled, Gidlow writes, but Miss Fontaine's trip home from the registrar's office was no ticker-tape parade. Enfranchisement revealed women to be heroes, and it revealed them to be selfish, and it revealed them to be the complicated humans men had always been. I'm going to stop reading there to just let you know that that was our last segment of exploring the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote, and it is brought to you by Comcast NBC Universal. Thank you, Comcast, for sponsoring this segment. We learned a lot about the 19th Amendment and the things that we didn't know in history, and I'm hoping that through this segment that we were doing for weeks on end, that we were able to inform people who may not have known parts of the suffrage movement and how far we have come in 100 years. Just looking at today, where the second most powerful woman in the world is now a black and Asian woman. All right, moving right along, let me take a call or two, and then Diane from South Philly, are you there?
Yes, Mother. I can't say the other mother name, but I'm going to call you Mama. How are you, Mama?
I'm good. How are you, lady?
I am good. I'm just calling to first I want to thank the Lomas family, wonderful Lomas family, for bringing you on. And I'm quite sure Dr. Lomas is just, I know he would be so proud of you. And I want to thank you for all the wonderful work that you are doing for our young babies. Thank you so much for the young people and how you are changing lives. I just love your spirit. You have a spirit of a mother, and I thank God for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for your kind words. You all are going to make me cry today, and I'm working real hard not to go there. But you have a wonderful holiday, and thank you for the words of encouragement. I will definitely marinate on it as I take this next week off, okay?
God bless you, and enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your vacation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye. Woody!
Yes. I just want you to know I've been in here with customers all day, and it was difficult to get to you. Have a customer in the front of the chair looking back at me now, so I want him to know that I don't mean any harm, but my mother was on the line, so I just wanted to ask you the question, who loves you, baby? Everybody else been telling you about how much, but you already know me. See, we got it like that. You know, when the kids take the eyes, like you take your two fingers and point at the eyes. In other words, you feeling me? You feeling me? I know you always feeling me, and I'm feeling you, so I really appreciate you throughout the year. But I really want to talk to you on this issue of the immigrants. I think it's so important that we don't miss our history. And they're tearing down all these statues all around the country that identify what America is. We have to remember, in order to know where you going, you got to know where you came from. I say stop tearing down these old statues like Robert E. Lee and all these others. Keep them up so we can at least know where we came from and know what we went through. It's very important to go into 2021 with the thought that we're growing. So our immigrants don't know a lot about the slavery, as the lady said. We all need to share with one another, and I think they can help a lot in the prisons. The immigrants can help in a lot of places as it relates to education, because the children of former chattel slaves, they just did not get the proper education in a lot of these inner city schools. So I think that's going to be wonderful, and they're going to be able to help in many more ways. So please keep my number. Let them know about the shop, and I want to continue to do what I can do to make this a better place, because that First Amendment right is the First Amendment to be able to express yourself. You cannot express yourself if you can't read, write, spell, or count.
Happy holidays, Woody. And tell the people at the barbershop I said thank you for being patient. All right.
Thank
Take
you.
it easy.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Whew. Yeah, all right. Let me take a quick break, and then I'll get Elsie and Tony. All right. Hold on one second. Want to buy black for the holidays? We have got you covered. WURD Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, Black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
This year's been tough, but it's given me a lot of time to learn new skills through the internet.
I've been joining more classes during lockdown.
I'm doing an internship.
I taught myself how to play guitar.
So when people ask,
will I be able to learn online?
I feel like I'm ready.
Internet Essentials from Comcast has connected millions of families from low-income homes to the internet. So no matter what back to school looks like, students can be ready for anything. Learn more at comcast.com/Internet Essentials.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. We're getting ready to wrap up now, and I'm super excited. I have a couple of other callers on the line, and then I have a few things that I want to say to all of you. Let's see. Elsie, Old City?
Elsie is here.
Hi, Elsie.
Hi. Greetings.
How are you? Greetings to you, too. How are you?
Thank you. I wanted to get that off the speaker. I'm still pushing. So, like I always say, still in the action. I just wanted to be sure to call you. I thought I was going to get to you on Tuesday, and I didn't. But I wanted to, first of all, thank you for having not only myself, but Deacon Matthew Smith from our National Action local chapter, the Philly Freedom Riders, on to discuss the situation and concern about excessive force, deadly force by the Philadelphia Police Department, and we'll pursue this in more detail in the new year, Lord willing.
Yes, ma'am.
So I thought I was going to be able to send you an email, and I didn't. So I said I have got to, if I can get on this phone today. And I just got in and was able to do it. So I wanted to do that. And then, of course, I want to give you hearty wishes for a blessed Christmas. And I always like to say Jesus is the reason for the season.
Yes.
And to wish you a happy Kwanzaa and also a blessed New Year. And I look forward to talking with you after the New Year.
Yes, ma'am.
Enjoy your family.
I will.
And friends.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll look forward to you being fired up and ready
to go.
All right.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you so very, very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Be blessed now. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. All right, Tony from North Philly. How are you?
Hello, my sister Andrea. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're welcome.
I was just looking at the conservative news and how the Georgia race was the Senate and everything, and they steady talking about we're gonna make sure every vote counted in the ballot and assign the names and checking the ballots. The Democrat votes is every vote we counted. But I thought to myself, well, who checking them? do we have an organization that's making sure their votes is in all their ducks is in a row? Maybe if we'd had that, 2016 might not have happened.
Yes.
So let's make sure we got an organization that's checking, making sure their ducks is lined up right. That's all I have to say. Peace.
All right. Well, you have a good one. All right. Bye-bye. I see that they're attacking Warnock, talking about he ran over his ex-wife. I'm like, I am not playing. I can't even. When you're running for politics and people see that you have the potential to win, they can get really nasty. It's a divisive thing to be a part of, and so it can get ugly. Anyway, while I don't have any other callers on the line, I wanted to say something to you, the WURD listeners. It has been a year, and there's some things that I learned this year while working on WURD. One, I love talking to people. We may not always have agreed, but I respected your opinions. And I want to thank you for calling in anyway in the middle of that. I get fired up about and will cry about the pain dished out to children, but I will also highlight their triumphs. There were a couple of times this year that I had conversations. One of them was a DHS conversation where I could barely catch my breath. I was so upset. I could not get myself together. But what came out of that conversation was two things. One of my diva daughters, Sincerely Sarita, who has a show on WURD called Safe Space, she called me right in the middle of that show, and because she knows me well enough, and she says, Mother, breathe. And so I breathed, and we talked through it. And then after that show, some months later, I began having honest conversations with judges and lawyers around the city who said everything those women said was okay, was true, and that very few people wanted to highlight them because of politics, right? So they thanked me quietly for highlighting those women. So it wasn't always easy to do the kinds of things that I wanted to do, but I always stood on principle and let the chips fall where they may. The challenges of technology may have been beyond our control, but we did not let it control us. That's Mike and I. We worked really hard together. Sometimes things happen, right? It was a joy giving voice to those of you who would have otherwise been ignored, only to see mainstream media carry your story shortly thereafter. So it became a thing, right? Mainstream media was watching what I was doing over here, and I'm sure other people on WURD. And as soon as I carried the story, it was 2-3 hours later. So people are paying attention. So if you feel like you're not being heard and you can't get your stories heard, we are always willing. We'll fact check. We'll make sure that we're getting the right information. But let me speak for myself. I am always willing to highlight what's going on in our community so that your voices can be heard, right? More people are listening than I could have ever imagined. I have heard from people in Switzerland, of all places. And so I want to thank you all for just, being a part of this conversation and listening. I am grateful for the space to learn, grow, impact, and practice grace. I will have more doctors on and working on a segment for that, because I realize that is very important to us. Even though I was incredibly open about my own journey, about being diabetic, and I've lost all this weight, and I'm choosing what I eat. And, you know, I used to go from I wanted to be buff with a flat stomach to now I'm like, I want to make sure that when I take a deep breath, I can take a deep cleansing breath, that my heart isn't racing, that my blood pressure and blood sugars are normal. You know, I am a middle-aged woman now, and so those things are incredibly important, and I have to preserve the one body that I have. And in doing so, and in reaching out to all of you, you have all been so kind and wonderful. I want to thank all the doctors that have been on, Dr. Archima Major, Dr. Ayla Stanford. I want to thank Tanya Ladipo, and all the other medical folks that have been on. I want to thank the lawyers who came on to talk about real estate planning. Just all of it. Like, you've given us, I want to talk to the lawyers that came on and talked about, you know, planning for your parents leaving, you know, passing away, and what does that look like, and where would the money go. I want to thank the lawyers that called and talked about starting your own business and getting, you know, your LLCs and making sure that your stuff is trademarked. I want to thank all of you, any one of you that have played a part, every single guest that have called in 2020 or showed up in the studios before coronavirus hit. From my heart to yours, I want to say thank you, because you trusted the vibe, you trusted what we were going to talk about, and you continue to stay in touch, right? I am shutting down for the rest of this year to rejuvenate, celebrate my husband's birthday, which is tomorrow, because he's a Christmas Day baby, spend time with God, and find my center. I'm not going to cry. Happy 2021 when it gets here. We'll be back on the air on January 4th, which happens to be my birthday. So be safe. One love to all of you. If you want to, you know, talk some more, I'm here for another 4 or 5 minutes. The phone number is 215-634-8065. If you want to call and tell me what you learned this year, I just want to make sure that I did not get off the air without saying thank you. I have learned so much from all of you. You have taught me how to listen with empathy. You've taught me how to not judge. You've taught me to see all sides of a story instead of just the side that people want me to see. You have given me the courage to say, not doing that. Not doing that. You've given me the courage to speak up on your behalf. And quite frankly, I feel not only enveloped by all of you, I feel safe because I have a husband who would make sure that nothing happens to me in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, I have a certain autonomy to do the things that I want to do and say. You know, for people who have no family members to visit, you know, this holiday, who may not have anything to do because COVID has stripped you of your job, of your family, of having a roof over your head, I'm sending you love and the most vibrational warmth, and to let you know that even the bad things don't last forever, and to promise you that as 2021 comes in, I am going to do my level best to continue to give you the kinds of support and bringing on people like Nikki Bagby and Sandy Carrington and Niamal Tutsdial and Deborah Keys Wright, and just all these fantastic folks that have been instrumental in giving you the kinds of programming. Because you see, Ego would say that this show happened because Mother did the show. This show happened because all of you did the show. And I recognize that if I left WURD tomorrow, that while you all may cry and moan and complain, that somebody else will take in the space. None of us are so important that we're bigger and better than anyone else. So I always walk in a space of gratitude with each and every one of you, each and every day. And when I get off the air, I feel like a limp noodle sometimes, but I have this energy inside of me that says I am doing God's work. This is God's work, people. It's God's work. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes coming from a place of authenticity, and it takes not feeling so puffed up about myself that I forget what this is really about. Joseph Simmons in Florida, Gary from Southwest Philadelphia, Woody from the barber shop, Tyrone, Maurice from Southwest, Maurice from Northwest, Kim Cat, Rosalind, Jesus, just all of you, Lynn DeShields, Haley, Rosalind, Lucy Lou, Vicky Blackburn, who is from Michigan, my white sister from Michigan, Bernita Francine, yes, I'm naming you all, Joseph, Cheryl Brown, Marla Campbell Harris, all of you. on the days when it didn't feel good, on the days when I'm like, can I do another show? You have all kept me going. Niamal, thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. I will be back on the air on January 4th, which is my birthday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa. Find peace, joy, love in everything that you do. And remember, there for the grace of God go I. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.